move near the vicinity of Andover Central High School and Andover Central Middle School in the mobile home park there, and then make that hook to the north. And it is still in progress, and this will be crossing K-24 between Benton and Towanda. But just in case another new one spins up, this will be the next circulation now between Augusta and Andover, just to the north of US 400.
Jay, I'm starting to get pictures
Frank.
come in here. This is one from Michael Davis. Just posted this on my Facebook page, trying to confirm the exact location where this is at. But again, if you do have photos, and again, gives you an indication here looking at this, this is not something that you want to be messing with at this point. So if you are in Butler County, if you are in this tornado warning, you do need to be taking your precautions right now. You're hearing those sirens, your weather radio is going off. You do need to be in a safe place. But again, this is confirmation here. Michael Davis sending in this photo. And again, if you do have photos, videos, continue to post those on my page, and we'll continue to relay those on.
All right, thank you, Frank. Now let's go back over to Kake's First Alert Doppler HD. And basically that whole line of storms. Deb, you still with us? You got anything new there?
Yeah, I can tell you the power is out here.
Okay, all right.
So I'm trying to figure out how to get out of my garage so I can go.
Okay, Deb. So do you want us, Deb? Do you want us to stay with you, or do you want us to let you go and you get back in touch with us?
You can just stay here for now.
All right. Well, you're hot on air. Keep that in mind.
I will. Thank you.
Okay.
I'll keep you updated.
All right. So here's what's going on. This whole line, the cold front's coming through, and there's enough shear on that leading edge where Bryce Kintai was showing us early back in parts of Dickinson County and Marion County of these, very dramatic. You saw it live here on Kake, landspouts in progress. So we are concerned about this entire line producing some more tornadoes. Let me go back over to the reflectivity mode of the radar. If we switch over to Wichita, we'll go over to reflectivity at this point. And anywhere you see kind of a leading edge hook or curl, I'm going to be concerned about the potential for tornadoes to develop. Now, the good news is you see that little thin blue line out ahead, that's the outflow. The farther the outflow gets out ahead of that main line of storms, the better off we're going to be in terms of not having a tornado produced along that line of storms. But we still have enough shear here with these storms that are well out ahead of the front that we're concerned about that tornado threat. Unfortunately, what has just happened is what we were fearing. Any individual storms that popped up on the east side of the dry line had the potential to take advantage of the atmosphere and cause rotation. So let's get back into the tornado warning storm that is right now in Butler County. Let's go back over to the storm relative velocity data here, and we'll put it in motion over the past 30 minutes and see if we can track a new circulation. Because right now, what was approaching 254 between Benton and Towanda, it's right there. This is dramatically weakened. So in terms of a tornado still in progress from what has moved near Andover, the confidence is low that that is still occurring at this time. So here we go over the past 30 minutes, and notice how the tornado, as it starts to jog to the north right there, basically it's weakening as it's crossing 254 between Benton and Towanda. So if it's still there, don't think it's much going on. But as you track it back over the past 30 minutes, matter of fact, I'm going to do that. Let me roll
Jay,
right out here. Go ahead, Frank.
When you get a chance there, why don't you also reset the radar? We've just got a new tornado warning for that storm that's in Greenwood County right now. Why don't you take a look at that? I've got several more photos coming in here from the storm in Butler County. Also getting a report from Butler County Emergency Management that tornado possibly has dissipated for the time based on spotter reports here. This is that photo we showed you from Michael Davis. A couple more of them coming in. Gay Carpenter sent this one. Got a couple more here for you. Lindsay Paul sent this photo coming in to my Facebook page, and another one here from Melissa Sorensen. So again, thank you for sending those in. Leanne Bush sent this. This was Pawnee and Greenwich. It's very, very beneficial if you can give us your location when you are sending these photos so we can get an idea of where this is at. But again, new tornado warning, that is going to be for Greenwood County, and that storm moving to the northeast at about 25 miles per hour. That's going to go until 9:15.
Jay, are you still there?
Yeah, we're still here, Deb. What have you got?
Okay. I just wanted to make sure you were still there. I am just headed south on Andover Road to see what I could see, because that's about where it looked like it came right through the middle of Andover. But I can't tell yet. I'll let you know as soon as I get close. But I do not see any more tornado or funnel cloud or anything right now.
All right, we'll continue to check that out. Frank, could you give me, from the Weather Service, when they issued the tornado warning for Greenwood County, what was the location that they gave?
So that one there is located 8 miles southwest of Eureka.
8 miles southwest of Eureka.
And that is radar indicated at this point, but they based on that, on the rapid strengthening of that storm, that how quick we're seeing these things spin up, that definitely want to give Eureka a heads up.
Okay, so we'll continue to pan down here, and there we go. Let's get that situated over here. But you said 8 miles to the southwest of Eureka, so we'll continue to track that for you. Let me kind of pan down a little bit here. I don't know, up in the booth, I don't know what's going on with the hand tracking here, but it's getting a little wonky on me. So from Eureka, let's go back, you said 8 miles to the southwest. There's 10 miles there, and you can kind of make out where there might be a little bit of circulation at that point. So here we go over the past 30 minutes. We'll take a look at this and put this in motion for you. And as we do, I can see where basically they issued based on, okay, see that little shear right there? Don't know if it's still hanging together. This is not the best radar indication of circulation, but let's go ahead and take those tornado precautions at this point. It's not nearly as strong as the radar indications that we were getting with the tornado as that moved through Andover. So let's zoom in, and honestly, looks like a new tornado circulation is wrapping up. Frank, just to the north of Augusta. You see that right there?
Yeah.
That is starting to intensify, so we may have a new developing tornado on the northeast side of Augusta. That will be tracking over towards US 54 south of El Dorado. So if you're around El Dorado, you need to keep an eye on this part of the thunderstorm to see if it redevelops. What was the Andover tornado has now crossed 254, and that's what's left of it. Don't know if that's still, that's so weak. I doubt there's probably a tornado occurring at time, but that's the leftover circulation. And if you track that back, you'll notice it came almost from due north to south there after it went through Andover, and then it originated probably here in extreme eastern Sedgwick County between Andover and Rose Hill, made that hook, and then came up through Andover, basically near the Dillons, and then as it crossed Kellogg, that would have been east of Andover Road at that point, probably near Andover Central, middle Andover Central High School, the mobile home park located there, or Andover Park, and then continued probably east of the old Andover High as that crossed 13th over near the park. Deb, you still with us? What have you got?
Yeah, so I'm at 13th and Andover Road, and there are multiple emergency vehicles headed south on Andover Road. So I'm just going to not get in their way, but kind of follow and see where, because I assume they're headed toward the damage. So
right.
I'm going to follow them and see what I find. All
right, that's Deb Ferris. You just want to stay with us while we can see what's going on there. I'm trying to scrub through the data. Frank, you got anything new?
Yeah, I'm just taking a look at this storm as it is headed towards El Dorado here. As you kind of analyze it on your screen there, you are starting to see a more defined hook on it. You can come over here to camera 5 if you want. That we are starting to see a more defined hook as this is going to be headed towards kind of the south side of El Dorado. So this is going to be crossing, really, we're probably looking at Haverhill Road here shortly as it moves to the north and east. So again, if you are in El Dorado, particularly if you are on the south side of El Dorado, I'd be going ahead and taking those tornado precautions, or if you live south of El Dorado, kind of towards the airport as well, I would be taking those. And also, we're starting to see that over towards Eureka as well. I mean, these storms rapidly intensifying. Let me go back here and let me show you a couple more of these photos that have come in, that it shows you how quick these things are spinning up, that you're getting what appears to be a fairly significant tornado spun up in a very rapid amount of time. This one here, you can actually see that it is, lofting some dust and debris, though it is fairly slim there at the bottom. That one coming in from Lindsay Pulse. Again, if you have any reports of damage or photos or videos of that, I encourage you to post that on my Facebook page. There is a post there. That is the fastest way for us to get that information on the air. And if you can, include that location of where you're seeing it at. It's very helpful in relaying the information.
All right, thanks a lot. I'm going to go back to 8:15. Here is Kellogg. There's Andover Road, and that's Harriet. It looks like the tornado was crossing near the intersection of Andover Road and Harry Street at about 8:16. And then you'll notice how very quickly this makes a turn to the left and crosses near the Dillons, near Cloud Avenue there. And then that continues on very quickly up to the north. So we got that circulation. Yes, Deb, go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt. I'm getting reports that the Andover YMCA was hit. and that's where it seems all these vehicles are going.
Now, okay,
So
but
I will let
you
you
don't
know
know
when
the
I'm
degree
close.
of damage, right?
What's that?
You don't have you heard anything about the degree of damage?
Yes, I am hearing from people in Andover that the YMCA took a direct hit and is destroyed. But I can't confirm it yet because I don't see it with my own eyes.
Okay, where
But
are you
can
at?
probably hear the emergency vehicles.
Okay, and what's your location again, Deb? I'm sorry, Deb. What's your location again?
I'm at Central and Andover Road.
Okay, it's Central and Andover Road. So she is right here. And are you able to continue on down to the south on Andover Road, or are you stuck on traffic?
Well, there is a lot of traffic right now, but we're moving. So
Okay.
hopefully I'll be able to get in that vicinity, and I will keep you guys clearly posted on what I see. As soon as I get there, Jay, I'm going to try to do a live, trying to figure out how I can talk to you live, like with pictures. I know we can do it by Facebook. I just can't remember how.
Okay. And also assuming, Frank, at some point, David Scott. So at some point, can you contact the newsroom and tell us where crews are, where they are in relation to what's going on? Let's go to David. David, you got a mic on? Okay, let's go over to David Scott.
Sending crews out right now. We have our John Hayes heading down to southeast Sedgwick County, and our Eli Higgins will be heading to other damage that we are able to nail down. But we'll be getting those pictures hopefully in the near future.
All right. David, give us a little more there. I got to talk to the producer. If we are in
what has happened in Andover. We just heard from Deb a little while ago, but we're going to be in contact with emergency management in Sedgwick County as well as in Butler County to find out exactly where the damage is. We're hearing the YMCA in the Andover area, and we're also going to be heading down to southeast Sedgwick County to see what has happened down there. We're not hearing any other reports other than the YMCA that Deb was talking about of any actual damage happening, but we have teams that are heading to different locations as we get these reports and checking out just what exactly is happening out there, Jay.
All right, thanks a lot. Let's go back to Kake's First Alert Doppler HD, where we have tornado warnings that affect for parts of Marion County, also for Butler County and Greenwood County. I'm going to go back into the Greenwood County storm here. Earlier, we could see why they issued that warning, but it wasn't a really tight circulation. And right along 54 between Reese and Eureka. Let me go over to the velocity data, and we'll take a look at it from that point of view to see if we got a little more of a rotation here. So let's go over to the storm relative map. And okay, you can kind of imply that there was a little hook. The good news, there's not a really tight circulation, but given the atmosphere, given the fact that we spun up a tornado very quickly, it's a good idea to go ahead and stay down in the shelters at this point, as that circulation, it's pretty weak, but that's going to track right along 54 near Eureka and then cross on the north side of 54 at that time. Now I'm going to slide back over into Butler County. Earlier, what produced the Andover tornado, that circulation has weakened. But now we got another suspect area we continue to watch here. This really kind of started to tighten up as it moved northeast of Augusta. Not really a classic tornado signature here, but notice this is crossing 54. Where 454 splits off, 400 continues westbound into Wichita, where it's 54 comes down here and meets it after it splits off from El Dorado. So right between El Dorado to the south, that's still the potential for another tornado to develop. So if you go from El Dorado, we're only talking about 6 miles south of town here, and it's moving northeast. So if you're around El Dorado, south side of El Dorado, over towards Prospect 54, as you head over to Eureka, you may want to go ahead and take those tornado precautions as that heads your way. Frank, have you got anything new? Okay, so let's just stay with this. I'm going to go back over and pan to what was the tornado we have confirmed that came through Andover earlier. Here we go over the past 30 minutes. That circulation now north of 254 and has dissipated. So that is now gone. You'll see that track right there, how quickly it went to the north, came back hooked to the northwest and dissipated. So we are done with that. Deb Ferris is in the process of getting some more information on the damage from that. We have some preliminary reports that we haven't confirmed at this time. Yes, Frank.
And Jay, I am also getting some reports from viewers taking phone calls from people who may have been at the Andover YMCA as well. Yeah, we're getting it from a couple different sources here, but I encourage folks, if they do have those reports, to pass them along to us. And we're in the process of getting some of that as we speak.
All right, thanks a lot. And I've kind of expanded the view here because this is the cold front and dry line that have merged together, and we're now getting a line of severe thunderstorms that's developed all along. So severe thunderstorm warnings basically all along the front. We could see wind gusts in excess of 60 miles per hour. Chase and Marion County, that is until 9:15. Then we slide down to the south for Butler, Chase, Harvey, and Marion until 9:15. And then Wichita, this is another severe thunderstorm warning for Butler and Sedgwick County until 9:30. So once this rolls through, this is another line. We're not done with the thunderstorms here. Now, the only saving grace is I want to point out, see the thin line out ahead where you get to the heavy rain. That's what we call the outflow boundary. See near Elbing where it's starting to kind of catch up to the boundary? If that happens, we're going to watch very closely these locations because they could still take advantage of the shear and spin up tornadoes on the leading edge of that line of thunderstorm. But we can get that little thin blue line farther out. That keeps the outflow away from the parent thunderstorm far enough where it's really hard to spin up those leading edge tornadoes. The closer that is right to the leading edge, that's where you have more of a chance. Matter of fact, near Elbing, just to the southeast of Elbing, we're seeing enough there where, you know what, I would go ahead and take some tornado precautions. Could have a quick, brief spin up. I'm going to go over to the Wichita storm relative, and right in there is where we're looking. And yeah, right there, just to the north of Potwin, as far as the distance from Potwin, it's about 6 miles to the north, already past Elbing at that point. If that continues to tighten up, that could produce another leading edge tornado there. We still have the tornado warning in effect for Greenwood County and Eureka. I'm going to zoom into that. Now, admittedly, we never really saw a super tight circulation with this one like we did. It was very clear with the storm that developed between Andover and Rose Hill, hooked, and then came up through by the Dillons and the YMCA there, and then quickly moved on off to the north. There is, you can make out maybe a little rotation now to the north of 54 here, but there's not what we call really a hot stinger. But I would go ahead and stay down in your basements, in and around Eureka, until this thunderstorm continues to move away. And now I'm going to pan back over to the west, and we're going to take a look at that thunderstorm that spun up northeast of Augusta. Not a really tight circulation, but definitely a rotating thunderstorm that is now just about 4 miles south of El Dorado. This is going to be a close call south of El Dorado and eventually crossing 54 before it gets to Rosalia. So we'll continue to watch this area of circulation here, and we're continuing to assess just how much damage has occurred in Andover with another tornado that we had today. Got several pictures sent in via social media earlier. Frank, I noticed you have some new ones for us.
Yeah, we do have several photos coming in of this tornado as it went through Andover and the Augusta area and then moving into Butler County there. Tim Helfrich sent me this photo. You can see it very clearly. Let me go back one here. And this photo is telling from Katie. This is Prairie Creek and 13th. So valuable when you give us those coordinates where you're at. You can see the storm is kicking up debris. That tornado is kicking up debris. So we appreciate that, Katie. So far, Jay, the amount of photos I've had come in, the vast majority of these are of this very visible funnel. And I mentioned how visible it was on my drive in from the west side of Wichita. I could see it all the way, really essentially across the county. So a very visible storm. But what I'm not seeing so far very much of are photos of damage coming in. In fact, all the photos I'm seeing so far have not been of damage. Well, I don't think we get a tornado like this without some damage. But so far, if there is some good news in these photos, we have not seen much of that yet.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, that at this point, we would expect that, flood of damage pictures to start coming in also. So we're going to see what happened. All the damage reports we have
We are getting another report
ahead,
from Butler County Emergency Management of a large funnel being reported. This is just southwest of El Dorado, and they do have spotters in the vicinity of that. So just what you were saying, that storm is cycling,
yes.
And that's been the behavior of this all along.
Yeah, and we're going to zoom back in once again. So, just stay hunkered down at this point, El Dorado, as this storm rolls through you. We've been talking about this really kind of redeveloping along north and northeast of Augusta, and now the circulation is, you can right back in here. If you look at the reflectivity, it would be this part of the thunderstorm just to the southwest of El Dorado. So that would match very nicely of why we would have a funnel in that area. So let's go back over to the storm relative motion map of the radar. We use the Wichita radar since it's the closest one. There's your storm relative motion map. And right there, not really a classic rotational signature, but a rotational signature just southwest of El Dorado. And this is more diffuse here. I tell you what, let me zoom in a little tighter. Let me get a little bit of a street grid here because this might be developing. So, all right, there is Haverhill Road and Southwest 20th. So obviously that's the Kansas Turnpike there. There's K254 as it comes into town. So right in that area, we still have a rotation. So this is the velocity. This would be when going back toward, the radar and going away over at Eisenhower. So you'd make up the rotation there. And as we switch back over from the rotational mode of the radar to the reflectivity mode of the radar at this point, see it matches with that little hook. So that would be very likely where the reports of the funnel are coming from. And if that tightens up and has the potential, obviously, in this atmosphere to produce a tornado, then that would take it into El Dorado proper. Now,
the latest reports coming in from Butler County Emergency Management, spotters are reporting golf ball sized hail. So not surprised how that is 1 mile south of El Dorado. And they're also reporting right now that funnel south of El Dorado maybe has retreated a little bit. It may have lifted a little bit, but what we're seeing here with these storms, they are continuing to cycle, and they could drop like this just about at any time. So continue to stay in those safe places if you're in the vicinity of El Dorado, especially on the south side of town.
All right, and there's that, the golf ball signature you're talking about as you get into town. There's Vine as you get into downtown there. So there's that, hail signature moving along 54. This would be where we had the funnel report, basically Haverhill Road, southwest of town near Southwest 20th. So now we're going to go back over to the storm relative motion map here. And once we do, that's that rotational signature that we've been seeing with the radar. The process, let me kind of back out. We're going to reset the scene across south central Kansas. The tornado warning continues for El Dorado and Butler County. We still have a tornado warning in effect for Greenwood County and Eureka. And, I'm not paying any kind of short shrift here. There's just not been in Eureka a very tight, very classic rotational signature with this storm. So let's go back over the past 30 minutes. We can understand why the Weather Service issued that warning when it was back in the western part of the county, but we're not seeing really what we call a tight signature, a tight stinger, tight gate-to-gate shear. But given the environment anywhere around Eureka to the north of Eureka, over towards between Tona Bay and Hamilton along K99, it's still a good idea to exercise those tornado precautions. And now we're going to back the view out and slide back to the west. Remember earlier I was looking in Butler County back north of Potwin. And some other circulations over there that was past Elbing right there, and that's much weaker now. But between Elbing and DeGraff, as that's rolling over towards US 77 north of El Dorado, I think maybe you had a little potential for a weak brief spin up, but that has settled down also. Even that circulation back to the southwest of El Dorado is not as prominent as it was, but just south of town here, we're still watching for the potential to see if that kind of wraps back up to something we should be more concerned about. Going to go back over to the, we call it the debris detection mode or correlation coefficient mode off the radar. Admittedly, it's a pretty noisy product. I know it's hard to kind of decipher in real time. But we're going to use that. Kind of hard to tell when we got any debris lofted into the signal when it was an Andover, but we're looking back over into Greenwood County and Butler County. And at this point, there's no really obvious signature at this time that we're continuing to watch. Frank?
Jay, we are starting to get some video come into this, and this is a place you are familiar with. Many folks might recognize this. This is Stearman and Benton. So this is as it was going south of Benton. So it gives you an idea of the strength of that tornado. So that is looking to the south from Stearman Bar and Grill there. So it looks like it went just south of Benton based on these videos coming in.
All right, and you know what? And that is a well-developed cone tornado. It's not a big massive wedge. It is a cone tornado. So if I can take any good news from that, the damage path should be fairly narrow and not a very extensively wide damage path with that tornado. Now, where the path is, it can be very intense because don't take width to determine wind speed. That doesn't necessarily correlate with one or the other.
And you can see there in those last frames, you do have a power flash with that. But what you're mentioning there, not an overly wide damage path, that kind of is backing up the fact that, again, we still are seeing essentially no images of damage yet. No doubt that there is some, but if folks do have pictures or reports of damage, I encourage you to post that on my Facebook page so we can pass that along.
All right, thanks a lot, Frank. We're going to go over to David Scott in just a second here. Let's go back to the reflectivity mode of the radar, which is, what we're more familiar with. And here comes the next line of thunderstorms moving into greater Wichita as we speak, with that heavy rain from Whitewater, Furley, down through Valley Center, moving into northwest Wichita. And again, that little thin line out ahead of it, that's the initial gust of wind. That could be wind gusts exceeding 60 miles per hour before you get to the heavy rain and potentially hail. And the good news is, as long as we keep that wind gust line far out ahead of where the heavy rain is, that tends to help limit what we call these leading edge or QLCS tornadoes from spinning up.
Jay, when you get to a point there, we do have Cameron on the line. He should be on the line with us.
Is he on the phone? All right, Cameron, what have you got?
Hey, Jay, I'm pretty close to, I think, some tornado damage. I'm on Andover Road and East Douglas Avenue. I'm trying to get to Augusta and El Dorado to check and see if there's another tornado, but I've gotten stopped by the traffic and the potential damage. If you guys can see on my stream, you can see.
Where's your?
Going on there.
Aren't you on Live View 3?
Sorry?
Don't you have Live View 3?
Yeah, I have Live View 3.
Is it punched up?
It should be, yeah.
It is not. Recycle Live View 3. We are not getting picture from you.
Okay.
So
Right
recycle.
on. Let me do that real quick.
So recycle Live View 3, and then we'll get Cameron up via the Live View. So now let's go back over to Kake First Alert Doppler HD, and we're going to slide back over to that thunderstorm. Maybe try to cycle another one again here between El Dorado and Rosalie and Butler County. Let me go back over to the velocity mode of the radar using the Wichita radar and the base velocity at this point. Okay, you know what? Maybe trying to spin up a brand new circulation here. So anywhere, this is now already east of El Dorado. I'll put it in motion. Remember, we've been looking at this when it was over near Augusta, not real classic, but you know what, just based on the shape of the reflectivity, I'm going to be very careful right in here. Now, El Dorado proper could be a little weaker rotation right along 54 as that downtown and leading out of town, but that is much weaker. Remember, we did have a report of funnel cloud southwest of town, not really seeing as strong a circulation now as we did earlier, but stay in your shelters and hunker down at this point. But that is starting to tighten up, and that's going to be crossing 54 between Prospect and Rosalia as that continues tracking off to the northeast. I tell you what, I'm going to stop the rotation on this. I'm going to get in a little bit tighter on it until we get the road grid to pop up. But this could be a developing tornado as we speak. Okay, there is Blue Stem Road. So that circulation is already past Blue Stem Road at this point in time, and we'll be crossing 54 over towards Pontiac. And so we got, am I hearing, what am I hearing here?
That is Cameron.
Is that still Cameron?
On the phone line there.
Oh, Cameron, so you're on the phone now. If you're able to reboot Live View 3?
Yeah, it seems like it froze or something. I'm resetting it and hopefully getting this streamed to you guys very soon.
Okay, while we're doing that, Frank, what have you got?
We got a couple more photos coming in here. This was from KJ Hunt. This is down at Cook Airfield. This is at Cook Airfield is where this was taken at. And earlier in the evening, I was sent a video from Cook Airfield as the dust was kicking up storms. The storms were kicking up dust there, and then obviously now they're dealing with that tornado or seeing that. One more from the Benton area. Janelle Duvall sent us this photo, and as you can see, it is this one here. I mean, it's weakening at the surface, and that's what we're likely seeing here, is that this storm is going to be cycling, where we're going to be seeing it weakening and then dropping a tornado again. So as it continues to kind of go through that strengthening and weakening process as it continues to move across Butler County. No reports so far coming out of Greenwood County, which in that case, no news is good news. The last coming out of Butler County spotters reported a brief funnel cloud. This was also now another one maybe just north of El Dorado. So I'm not sure if that's actually with the line that is coming in.
We got a picture. Take Live View 3. Let's take Live View 3, and Cameron, talk to us via the Live View.
Hey Jay, yeah, I am
At
on
Douglas
Andover Road.
Avenue, lots of
Douglas
traffic.
Avenue,
Haven't
lots of
quite
traffic.
seen
Haven't
damage
quite
yet.
seen damage
I'm still
yet.
trying to go.
I'm still trying to go towards El Dorado.
Hey, his
to
audio
see
through
if I
Live View
can
3.
Get on the cycling supercell. You there?
Oh, hi Cameron, you're on. We got your live view up. What have you got? Where are you? Cameron, where are you? You're live on Kake. Be the live view. Go. All right, Cameron, you're hot. Go.
All right, Jay. So
You're live.
I
Go.
am on Andover Road and Central, and I am looking at a lot of the traffic, a lot of the commotion. I have not really seen the damage yet. I'm trying to move more northward towards El Dorado to go after this cycling supercell.
No,
but I have not
Cam,
seen the damage in person.
Cameron, Cameron, no. Go
Yes,
towards
sir.
Kellogg and Andover Road. Go towards the YMCA. Do not go to El Dorado.
But okay,
All right.
okay, will do.
So tell us again exactly where you are.
I am at Andover Road and Central.
You're at Andover Road in Central.
I just passed Central.
Head southbound on Andover Road to Kellogg and see what's going on with the damage down there.
Okay,
All right.
I will do that.
Thank you, Cameron, and we'll keep you updated as he gets closer. And we got any update from Deb? Okay, this is starting to tighten back up here. This is south of 54. Glad we kind of caught this. As far as it's distant from, from US 54, this is only a couple of miles south. Here we are in Butler County between El Dorado and Eureka. And now it looks like it's starting to spin back up again. So let's go ahead and make sure we take those tornado precautions, because this looks like it's going to be the next tornado that's going to spin up. Now, this is already east of El Dorado at this point. So if you're in El Dorado, this tornado circulation is not going to impact you. This is going to be over more towards Roselia and eventually crossing into Greenwood County. Now, if it stays kind of moving on a north-northeast path, that would keep it north of Reese and north of Eureka. Frank?
Jay, this is the first imagery that I've seen so far. This is the first imagery I've seen so far of the damage in from the YMCA there. So yes, we are starting to see damage from the YMCA. All right, so there we are. Aaron Jansen sent these photos in. These are on my Facebook page. They're into the YMCA. So again, that is on the, correct me if I'm wrong here, but that's kind of on the east side of town there, right? That is right there on,
It's
essentially
on
Kellogg.
It's on Kellogg, past Cloud. So it's past the Dillons, and it's basically, I would say, about a mile and a half to 2 miles east of the intersection of Andover Road and Butler Road, Andover Road, and Kellogg, just on the south side of Kellogg.
Yeah, these are the first images that I've seen so far coming in of the YMCA, and this matches up with what we are hearing of damage being there. Obviously, it looks like you have 1, 2, 3 vehicles here, and then obviously the front of that building is a tremendous amount of glass on the front, and it does look like a vast majority of that there has been blown out. And we'll continue to kind of look through these photos to see what we continue to get.
All right, Frank, and we have really tightening up the tornado signature here in Butler County. Let's get back over to Kake's First Alert Doppler HD. Here we go. There it is right there south of 54. I'm going to kind of pan it down. We're going to put this in motion for you over the past 30 minutes. This is the circulation that was first starting to develop near Augusta, and it's finally started. That's really starting to tighten up now. So this could be, and honestly, this is a more serious radar signature than what we saw with the Andover storm. I know we're getting, we're past sunset now, but this is a more destructive tornado that's going to cross 54. Now, this is already east of El Dorado, but this is your heads up for, already past Prospect, but over the old Pontiac over towards Rosalia, and then getting into Greenwood County. This is going to be tracking along US 54 and then into Greenwood County. And this is the strongest circulation that I'm seeing anywhere on the radar at this time. So we're going to continue to watch this. Let me go ahead and back the view out at this point. And let's see if we got anything else on the radar. I know we've got the line of storms itself moving through Wichita. I'm going to switch back over to the reflectivity product here. See if we got any spin up on the leading edge with that part of the thunderstorm line. But again, see the little thin blue line? That's the outflow boundary, staying just out ahead of the front and dry line now that it has merged, moving through. So that should reduce the chance of spin-ups on the leading edge. If this ever catches up, we're going to watch this whole leading edge, quick, brief tornadoes that could do damage. Not out of the question. Oh, you know what? Look at what's happening on the east side of El Dorado. Okay, looks like this one may be starting to tighten back up too. Any of these independent cells that are out ahead of that line, we've got enough shear here. So we're 177, comes in contact with Prospect. That's the circulation we were looking at earlier. I'm going to go back to it. This is really wrapping up. So this has got a tornado warning already in effect, and that will continue. There you go. There's the inbound towards the radar. There's the outbound just to the south of US 54. So it's crossing US 54 just east of the intersection of US 54 and K177. So that's going to move along. So anywhere around Rosalia to the north, and once you start getting over the county line into Greenwood County, Salyards, Ivanpah, probably going to stay north of Reese at this point. I'll be taking those tornado precautions at this time for this storm. Let me go over and see if we got any kind of debris getting kicked up here. So
with that storm, Jay, we are seeing reports of golf ball sized hail reported just west of Rosalia. That was 2 miles west of Rosalia. With that storm that we were just talking about. So in addition to that tornado threat, and the Weather Service is going to continue that warning on there. We are starting to get a couple more photos from actually inside the YMCA there.
All right, let's go back. Let's go back over to David Scott. David?
Jay? Hey, thank you, Jay. Yeah, I just got off the phone with Butler County EMS, and they're saying they're not hearing any other reports of any damage other than at the YMCA. They say right now darkness is becoming an issue, and so they're not seeing a whole lot other than what's happening at the Y. Now, we do have 2 crews heading that way. We have one heading to the Y. Also, we have a report of apparently damage to a home in the Andover area, and so we have another reporter heading up to check that out. We also are hearing from Evergy that there are more than 9,000 homes and businesses in the Andover area that are out of power right now, so crews are quickly moving to try to address that problem. Probably going to be more reports of that kind of thing going on. We also have some a photo and some video that was sent to us from a viewer of what happened in Andover. Okay, is that the photo or is that the video? I guess this is the photo. This is taken in the area of Rock Road and K96. So that obviously looking east toward the Andover area. And then we have some video that was sent to us from Bryce Greenwald of what he saw tonight. Can we get to that video? Here we go.
Tons of stuff.
And this is what Bryce Greenwald saw toward the Andover area as things were moving through there. Again, EMS is going out right now and trying to check out what all kind of damage may be in the Andover area right now. We just saw some pictures of what had happened to the Y there, and we have a crew heading that way, and also a report of damage to a home. But we will be scouring that area to try to find out what else has happened in the Andover area, and hopefully there won't be any more damage, but it appears that we probably will have more reports of this kind of thing happening as this storm continues to develop and move along. There you're seeing that funnel right there from the Andover area tonight. Again, Evergy is saying more than 9,000 homes and businesses in the Andover area are without power tonight. So that is going to be keeping crews very busy, and those numbers will probably continue to rise. That's it for now. Jay, we'll send it back to you.
All right, thanks a lot. Pretty soon we got, meteorologist Cameron Venable is in the vicinity in Andover. He's trying to maneuver back into the area to see exactly what happened. Hopefully we'll be getting to him in just a little bit. But to reset the scene, we've got a line of severe thunderstorms from Wichita all the way Whitewater to Graph here into Butler County up to the north. This is heavy rain, maybe some wind gusts to around 60 miles per hour. We still have 2 tornado warnings in effect, but the storm of the moment is this one here in Butler County that's already to the east of El Dorado that we did get some reports of golf ball size hail. Here we go over the past 30 minutes. These storms that are out by themselves ahead of the line, and particularly that one, that's the one to watch. This is the one that's probably producing another tornado as we speak. And as long as we maintain that outflow, you'll notice there's little points sticking out here. So it is trying in this environment to develop circulations on the leading edge of this whole line of thunderstorms. But as long as we keep that outflow boundary ahead, that's going to help. If it catches up to it, little brief week, what we call QLCS tornadoes are not out of the question. And even though those QLCS tornadoes can be brief, they can still do some damage. So let's get back into the storm that we're concerned about right here in Butler County. We're going to zoom in. I'm going to switch over to the velocity mode. So this is right on top of US 54. Now there's 177 where it branches off to the north. That tornado threat is now to the east and basically right along US 54 as that's heading over towards Rosalia, and eventually we'll start getting farther north of 54 as that crosses into Greenwood County. So we go back over to the Wichita radar. Here we are with the storm relative map, and there's that area of circulation. I got to admit, it's a little bit of spread here, not what we call a gate-to-gate shear, but given the environment we're in, I could really see that tighten up. Looks like they're issuing a new tornado warning on that, Frank. I'm assuming it's going to be continuation for that one.
This is a new tornado warning. It's going to be for Butler and Greenwood County. It's going to go until 10 p.m. That storm is just 9 miles northeast of Leon. So just northeast of Leon, moving at about 30 miles per hour now. Getting word now, though, that we also have Deb on the line. She has made it to the YMCA. Deb, what are you seeing?
Jay?
Go ahead, Deb.
Okay, I'm at the Andover Y. We're trying to cut the video that I just took of the Y and get it to you guys to get on the air. But the Andover Y took a direct hit from this tornado. It is destroyed. I was just there. There are cars that were flipped and blown into the middle of the Y. There are cars overturned. The whole front of the Y is gone. I talked to a man who was working out in the Y when the tornado came. They issued the warning, and everyone went to the locker rooms to hunker down. He tells me that they heard like an explosion almost. That's how he described it. And then lots of dust and debris fell on them, but everyone got out safely. And then right now, police are trying to secure the parking lot because so many people are trying to get in there and take a look at it. So they asked me to leave as well. But we have amazing video of this devastation. The good news is,
okay,
no
hey, Deb, hang on one second. I think we have that sound bite. Let's go ahead and roll that.
It looked like the neighborhood right behind the Dillons here, and it kind of kept going up and down, like real small. And so we started putting everyone in the locker rooms, and then suddenly it just kind of exploded and went right over the Y. And when we were in the locker rooms, everything went dark, and it dusted. Like we had no idea what happened. And then we came out, and the cars were thrown in the front of the Y. The back pool is trashed. Every window's blown out. It's crazy. Like I've never seen anything like. I've been here 24 years, and I've never seen a tornado before, and that was wild.
Do you work here?
I used to.
Okay,
but,
you were working out.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me your
Wesley Schnauber.
So you're Wesley.
SCHNAUBER.
Okay. So Wesley, anybody hurt that you know of?
Not that I know of. Everyone in the locker room seemed fine. Then the police showed up really quickly, but everyone's fine. The Y is flooding as we speak right now. You can hear it flooding right now. It's ruined. I don't know what they'll have. They'll probably have to scrape it and build a new one. But
How were you feeling when all this was happening?
it didn't feel real. Because I've seen tornado warnings all my life. You know, the cliche like Kansas don't care. But and then when it hit, it was so sudden you didn't really have a time to react. It was just kind of like dark and dusty. But once you came outside and saw the shock and awe of it kind of is overwhelming. I think it happened so fast, people didn't really react until afterwards, and they kind of had to time to process what had happened.
Yeah, I live up north of here, and I watched the whole thing.
Yeah.
I had no idea that it hit something.
Yeah, it went right by my folks' place up on Indianola, and just shoot north of them. I don't know if it's still going, but yeah.
Gosh, how scary. Honestly, I'm so glad you're okay.
Yeah, I'm glad everyone's okay, and it's all material stuff. It can always be replaced, but no one got hurt, thankfully.
Okay,
But,
thank you so much.
No problem.
I appreciate your time.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, Deb, I'm going to get back to you in just a second, but I've got to talk about this along 54 near Roselia. This is a very strong tornado signature that we're seeing on radar. I'll put it in motion for you over the past 30 minutes. This is the one that kind of started forming near Augusta, but this is really wrapped up very quickly. That is significant, and that is going to be heading towards Roselia. You got to be down in your shelters at this point. This is a much more significant radar signature than what we saw with Andover earlier tonight, and this will be moving along and then just north of 54 and heading over towards Sally Yards here in Greenwood County. So this is a very significant situation. I cannot stress enough here. We've already had the confirmed tornado tonight, and quite frankly, with that confirmed tornado in Andover, we were not, there's the debris signature. So we're getting a debris signature here too. So this is a very strong tornado that's on 54 at the current time. Now, Deb, are you still on the phone?
Yes, I'm still here, Jay.
Now, just kind of reset the scene here for me. You said the YMCA was destroyed, but you know what? We have visions of Greensburg where there was not a wall standing. Are there still walls standing? How much damage is there to the structure?
Well, the front of the building is gone. There are cars in the lobby. The roof is gone, and it's flooded. The wall of the Y, there are parts of it that are still standing there in the front. I couldn't get around to the back, but it's destroyed. It's not flattened, but it's destroyed.
Okay, all right, because I understand. It's just sometimes when you think, we were thinking, just a clean slate. It wasn't a clean slate, but it's beyond repair at this point. Going to have to be torn down and rebuilt, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep,
all right.
yep.
Deb, you got anything else for us with that? We got your interview, and we still got what's going to be probably a very significant tornado in progress here along US 54. What are you going to be doing from here, Deb?
I am waiting for a crew to get here so we can actually go live on TV, because all I have right now is my phone because I was off work today.
Okay.
So I'm waiting for them to get here so we can take a live shot to show you.
Okay.
But there are some of the, and I know you know this area.
Right.
There are some of the apartments that are right down here by the Y were also hit.
Okay, the Cornerstone apartments?
Yeah, they're the ones just west
The ones
of the Y.
between the Dillons and the Y.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep,
What about
yep.
the Dillons? Was there any damage as far west as the Dillons?
I can't tell. There are a lot of emergency vehicles in that parking lot, but I can't get into the parking lot to see. But there is debris all over the road. Trees are down. Cars, like I said, were flipped in the parking lot of the Y. So, and I watched that tornado live as it was happening, and you could see it went for a long time. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's not a lot more damage.
All right. Deb, we got you there. Where is Cameron Venable? I know he was on Live View 3. Can we put his picture up? Can we get an updated location on him? Can we get Cam on the phone? Okay,
I'm
Cam.
on 54 near Andover Road.
All right, Cam, you're on air.
I'm on 54 near Andover Road.
Okay, Cam, so what are you seeing from your location?
Okay, I'm on 54 near Andover Road. I'm trying to get to the YMCA, but everything's blocked off, grid-like traffic. I'm trying my best to get there.
Okay,
and I'm going to continue moving that direction.
So are you eastbound or what? You're eastbound, I'm assuming?
Yes, I am eastbound on Kellogg.
So you're eastbound on Kellogg. Are you right at the intersection, or is the Dillons off to your right, or how far east are you?
I am about to roll up on Andover Road, and to my right, it's hard to see, but it looks like it's a gas station, so I'm not quite at the Dillons yet.
Okay, so you're not to Andover Road yet.
No, I'm probably less than a mile away at the moment.
Okay, so you're on Kellogg eastbound, but you're not to Andover Road at this point.
No, I was moving northbound on Andover Road, tried to go southbound, but it was blocked off, so I had to go all the way around. Here I'm on 54 again, moving eastbound.
Okay, so
about
off
to
to your
go towards Andover
off to your
Road.
right. Are you to where the Holiday Inn is yet, or what's off to your right?
It's very dark. It looks like it might be. It's hard to tell. There's no
All right,
lights,
Cam,
but
as
it's
you
not
get-
Holiday.
All right, Cam, as you get closer, we'll come back to
Yes.
you. Let's go back over to Kake's First Alert Doppler HD. Still got this very strong tornado signature now just to the north of US 54 here in Butler County in the vicinity of Roselia. You got to be down in your shelters in Roselia at this point. This is going to continue tracking into western parts of Greenwood County. So we're going to put that in motion for you. Again, very impressive signature here, very scary signature. This is a stronger signature than what we had with the tornado that went through Andover earlier this evening. I'm going to back the view out. We're going to check the rest of Kake Land here. I know we're focused on the single storm, but given the environment, that's the one that's most likely to give us a problem. So let's go back over to the reflectivity mode of the radar. So here we are, go to Wichita. We're going to go back in the base reflectivity. There's that line of thunderstorms coming through town. Now you've got the tornado warnings basically for that one storm. Let's go back over the past 30 minutes. Given the environment, anything out ahead of that line that's by itself could take advantage of the shear in the atmosphere and produce tornadoes. That's what's happened in Andover and between Andover and Rose Hill earlier tonight. That line of storms, still the outflow is very close to it. Hopefully it'll get a little farther out ahead, but along that leading edge, I would still be cautious for the potential of QLCF weak brief spin-ups. We'll kind of zoom in on the southern part of the line, and then I'm going to track it from the south back to the north. So we go over to the slide tool here. So as we get north of Clearwater, and this line's going to continue building down to the southwest. So as this gets into Sumner County, I do expect more thunderstorm development. Raining heavily McConnell Air Force Base, Bel Air, and now you have rain getting back into Andover where they just had the tornado. So unfortunately, that's going to kind of mess up with the recovery efforts, and if there's any rescue efforts going on, we'll continue to watch that as it moves over towards Augusta. We'll continue to slide over towards Butler County here, Potwin and DeGraff, and then you start getting into much lighter rain, not as strong as you get into Chase County. So let's get back into the storm of the moment, and oh wow, look at this hook, how it wrapped back into itself. So confidence very high. We had a tornado south of 54, southeast of El Dorado, crossing 54. Don't know if this is wrapped up and included, and we're going to expect another one here, but we may still have a tornado in progress at this point. What have you got, Frank?
Yeah, Jay, I want to bring our attention also to folks just in Wichita. We are getting some reports of straight line wind damage, so as this line is actually coming through. So Harry between Edgemore and Woodlawn, sounds like multiple trees potentially down in that area. And again, that's just likely high wind with this. Also, our partners out the National Weather Service reporting they are getting wind-driven quarter-sized hail. So the wind driving that into the building there. So in addition to these storms we've been tracking, obviously the tornadoes take a lot of precedence here, but even if you're in Wichita, you need to be inside. You don't want to be messing with wind-driven hail. And again, these storms, even as this line moves through, still pose that wind threat. We do have that severe thunderstorm warning still in effect.
Thanks a lot. Matter of fact, Frank, why don't you also check Earth Networks, go to the Kansas Aviation Museum site, see what kind of wind gusts we're going to get there when it comes through, and maybe we can get some pictures off that camera. So here we go with the tornado warning still in effect for parts of Butler County into Greenwood County. And you see that little drop there? That could be what we call a bounded weak echo region. That could be around the tornadic circulation. So let me go over let me go back over to the Wichita radar and look at the storm relative map. There we are right there. Okay, still confidence very high that we have a tornado in progress north of US 54, north of Roselia. So this is moving north of Roselia. Stay hunkered down at this point in time. But downstream will be Ivanpah, will be Lapland, will be Hamilton as this crosses K99. As far as Reese and Eureka, this circulation probably going to stay north of you. But again, just to the north of Roselia right now, we got strong gate-to-gate shear. And you know what? We've had multiple tornadoes from this. The one that struck Andover quickly went up to the north and dissipated between Benton and Towanda. But this is a brand new circulation here that's been getting tighter and tighter and tighter near Roselia. So if along 54, at least it's getting away from you here, they're going to be extending that tornado warning downstream. Go ahead.
There is some damage west of Roselia. Again, that's coming from Bryce Kintai. That is Southeast Stony Creek Road and US 54, saying there is some damage there, and that's again coming from Bryce. As mentioned, we said we were going to bring up the stats here from the Kansas Aviation Museum. Right now, wind gusting only to about 28, but I do think that number is likely going to go up as this line pushes further to the south and east. And again, let me switch back over here and we'll show you that storm near Rosalia. That is right now that greatest circulation just north of town. So it's just north of 54, and as Bryce was saying, that was just a couple miles west of Rosalia where he was reporting that.
Bryce is in Chaser 1. So anytime we want to talk about Bryce, we can bring up Chaser 1. That's where Bryce is. Bryce Kentai's stream is hot, so we can show his stream hot anytime we talk about it. And if you want to get Bryce to call in on either yellow or red, get him to call in, we can get him to tell us what's going on. So here's that tornado warning still in progress here for Butler County, north of Rosalia. Very tight rotation. And that's going to be moving towards Ivanpah. So that's getting farther away from 54 at this point in time. So have we got any update from Cameron Venable? Where's Cameron's location right now? And we got an update, is he getting closer to Deb? So where are we? We got, I see David's on the phone over there. So
South Andover Road, it's all blocked off. I'm trying to get there.
Okay, Cameron, you're live on Kake. Talk us through what's going on, buddy.
Okay, so I am pretty close to Dillon's. I'm going to see if I could get into the parking lot. That's going to be just to the right here.
Now, is there any sign of damage at the Dillons?
I'm trying to see as I get a little closer.
I'm assuming you're having trouble because the power's out at that intersection.
Correct. The power's out in a lot of Andover.
All right. So once again,
I'd say like the east side of Andover.
Yeah. Get us. Okay. Now that we're back on Kake, give us your position once again. What road are you on? What direction are you going? What intersection are you near?
Okay. I am moving northbound on Andover Road, going back towards Kellogg. I should be right next to the Dillons. I'm going to see if I can go into the parking lot. I assume that's where all these lights are. Last couple times they haven't let me in, but let me try.
Okay, Cameron.
Okay,
Cameron,
right here.
are you past Harry? How far? Okay, so I see you're making the turn now, and so now you're entering the parking lot where the Dillons is. There's the Arby's is down there on your left. The Dillons is on your right, and it looks like power's out. Is there any sign of damage where you are?
I'm not seeing anything yet. I'm getting closer to the Dillons in a sec at this turn. Okay, so you can see a lot of the lights now. Now we're getting closer.
Yeah, okay. So now you made the turn into the parking lot.
This is the Dillons.
Yeah, I see that you've got the gas station there on your left. The Dillons is going to be on your right.
Yep.
Okay.
Let me see. I'm gonna.
And as you proceed through the road that goes between the Dillons and hits the roundabout over there on Cloud, that'll take you over to Cornerstone Apartments and then near the Y. While you're doing that, let's go back over to Deb Ferris. Deb?
I just found Cam.
Okay, so you've got Cam now. So you can now work with Cam on that. And I just want to get everybody updated on what's going on with the tornado circulation here north of US 54. This is
Jay, let's take Bryce's, if we can take Bryce's stream there.
Let's go to Chaser 1. Let's go to Chaser 1. And okay, so what do we got, Frank? Why don't you?
And I have implicit trust in you. I really do. It just makes me nervous. Period.
Multi-vortex tornado
exactly
north of 54, north of
where
Rosalia.
he's at there. I believe he is on 54, but once in a while from the lightning there getting a little bit of a lowering from that, so we're going to continue to monitor it.
All right, can we get Bryce to call in so we can get him on the phone? Okay, all right. So Deb, let's go back to you. What have you got?
Parking lot. I just talked to a police officer who tells me at this point they have no reports of any injuries. The Dillons was not hit, but they have several homes that were hit and several apartments that were hit. And, of course, the Y took a direct hit. So I'm with Cam, as I mentioned. So we're going to drive back over to the Y and get a live shot up for you guys so you can actually see some of this damage.
Okay, so can we get Deb's audio, Cameron's video up at the same time? And so, Deb, are you in the car with Cameron at this point? Okay, so now we're on the live view. So, Cameron, is Deb with you now?
Yeah, Deb's about to be in the car with me, yes.
Okay, fine. Then we'll do this all through the live view 3 here. So Deb was saying that y'all are going to try to get over to the Y and give us a shot. Is that what's going on now?
Yes. Okay.
Okay, make sure and get her on the microphone that we're using for live 3. So, all right, so you're joining us now live. This is Cameron Venable. He's in the parking lot of the Andover Dillons. This is Kellogg, Andover Road, and East Cloud Avenue. Cloud is just one half block south of Kellogg near the intersection of Andover Road. The YMCA is about 3/4 of a mile east of this location. You can exit this parking lot, go through a roundabout, and then get over access to the Y. So as we were tracking the tornado live, based on the radar, I was concerned that maybe it was going to strike the Dillons, but apparently it moved just to the east of the Dillons and struck the YMCA at that point. So we're going to go over and get information on that with Deb and Cam. Let's go back to Kake's First Alert Doppler HD because we still have tornado in progress.
And I do believe we have Bryce
Frank.
on the line now, Jay. I believe Bryce is in the Rosalia area. Bryce, can you tell us what you're seeing?
Bryce, you're on Kake.
Hey, Jay, I'm sitting about 2 miles east of Rosalia in eastern Butler County, looking off to the north. Currently, I don't have a tornado on the ground. The storm has been putting down what looks like just very scraggly wall cloud, almost hanging on the ground. Just quickly moving off to the east-northeast here, and the storm is actually kind of getting back in with outflow at this point on the backside. So hopefully the tornado threat will start to quickly diminish.
All right, now Bryce, if you were tracking this earlier, were you able to confirm that this produced a tornado?
No, not from my vantage point. We did see a power flash, so we'd have to assume that at the time the winds where we were very calm. But just off to our east down US 54, we saw a very large power flash. And,
okay, so I got to admit, based on the radar indication, Bryce, I was probably pretty convinced that we had a tornado on the ground somewhere near Rosalia, and then it got north of Rosalia at this point. I know you couldn't confirm one from your point. Any kind of no evidence of a damage track on 54 because you're in Rosalia now, right?
Yes, that's correct. We saw some it's dark, so you have to keep that in mind. But we saw what looked like tree damage and maybe some tin and a couple of signs down on 54 just to the west of Rosalia. So either RFD or some massive winds came through, or probably more likely a tornado.
All right. Now, what is your chase plan from here on out? I mean, I know it's night, and chasing at night's not the best thing in the world. The primary circulation is well north of US 54. So where are you going from here, Bryce?
We haven't got that far, Jay. I think we might go ahead and sneak off to the east a couple more miles, as this thing is going to track into western Greenwood here pretty quick. It's almost crossing the line now. So we may stay on this for a couple more minutes or a couple more radar sweeps and see what it does.
All right, thanks a lot. Frank, you got anything new on your end?
Hanging on the ground.
Based on what Bryce is saying there, that is kind of confirmed with other reports in the Rosalia area. At about 9:27, the fire department there did report a tornado on the ground that was 2 miles north of Rosalia, and that was followed shortly later by a report that it had lifted. So the cycling nature of these storms continues here, where it puts down a tornado for a time and then it lifts again. We're starting to see some new photos come in. This one here came in from Cheryl, and this is another shot of the front of the YMCA. So we've seen it now from a couple different vantage points. Obviously it's dark now, but this was taken before then. And you can see multiple vehicles here in the entryway in the front portion of the YMCA. So again, more damage photos beginning to come in, though it seems like it's highly concentrated in this area.
Let me go back and do some of the tornado warning coverage here. Frank, I heard the ding, and I got a feeling that some of the tornado watch counties are being canceled. So if you
Yeah.
could update a tornado watch map, we can kind of reset the scene for everybody.
And I do want to report also
ahead.
that they did issue a new tornado warning still for that storm that we are watching there as it goes into Greenwood County. So that new tornado warning, that one is going to be a brand new one issued. That one's going to go until 10:15, so we'll continue to watch that.
I will highlight that one for you. So that's until 10:15. That's the brand new one for eastern Butler County and for Greenwood County. Now, this new warning that has been issued does not include the city of Eureka. This is far enough north of 400. It's going to cross north of Sally Irons here, but over towards Ivanpah. And as it approaches K99, it's going to be well to the north of Eureka. So this is western parts of Greenwood County. That is still a really good circulation. I know that as we were talking to meteorologist Bryce Kintai, he wasn't able to confirm a tornado from his viewpoint, but based on the velocity signatures we were seeing and just based on what has happened earlier tonight, I would say it's probably pretty likely that we did have a tornado with that. Still got the circulation not quite as strong here. Let me go over to the reflectivity mode of the radar and we'll kind of reset the scene across south central Kansas at this point. So let's go ahead and kind of back everything out. Remember, the line of thunderstorms that's rolling through Wichita still has the potential for some wind gusts exceeding 60 miles per hour. And we're going to see that thunderstorm line continue to extend back towards the southwest. And that line is starting to catch up with the storm that's producing the tornadoes that's moving out of Butler County into Greenwood County. Honestly, once that line over, go ahead, Frank.
Good size. We're starting to get some reports within that line of some pretty good sized hail. Couple reports coming in of 2-inch hail, so that's about the size of an egg. Another report here. This is in the Andover area. So while folks are there either surveying or trying to clean up or do that sort of thing, we're talking about golf ball sized hail now being reported. And if Cameron does have any reports on that as it does come through, we'll be looking for it. But 1 mile southeast of Andover, Fire Department reporting golf ball sized hail coming down at 9:34.
All right, thanks a lot, Frank. And we got a brand new, and we're both showing at the same time here, the severe thunderstorm warning for Butler County and Sedgwick County. That is until 10:30. And unfortunately, that heavy rain is getting back over the area where we've already had the tornado strike. As far as what's still ongoing, we have the tornado warning that has been, a new one was issued for western parts of Greenwood County and for eastern Butler County. So this is well past El Dorado. This is going to be northwest of Eureka. And if this continues and you extrapolate it, basically Hamilton, north up to Madison along K99, you would be in the extended path. Let's go back 30 minutes ago. There's the line of thunderstorms as it grinds through Wichita, Augusta, El Dorado, and along the turnpike from Cassidy up to the Bazaar cattle pens. And out ahead of it was the lone cell that recycled and I would say likely produced tornadoes south of El Dorado and then crossing 54 between El Dorado and Roselia. Still got nice little curvature and circulation here, and that's why the National Weather Service is continuing the tornado warning. So let's go back over to the Wichita radar. We're going to go over to the storm relative motion map. We're going to zoom into the part of the storm that I think is very likely been producing tornadoes at this point. In a few minutes, we'll try to get an update from our Kake First Alert Storm Tracker meteorologist Bryce Kintai. And it looks like another circulation popping up that's recycling just to the northwest of Salliard. Now, that's the county line. This is Greenwood County. That's Butler County. So just to the north of US 54, we'll continue to track that new circulation. I got to admit, this is smaller, but remember, it wasn't a very large circulation that has produced the damage that has occurred around Andover tonight. So we've got that tornado that we're dealing with the cleanup on, and I still think when this crossed 54 that at some point we were probably producing a tornado. This is just some very tight signatures compared to what we've been seeing earlier tonight. I'm going to go back over to the, we call it the correlation coefficient. Sometimes we call it debris detection, but it's a real noisy product. I mean, sometimes it's hard to read, not always a real clear-cut signal, but you can kind of make out when it comes just there where you see a little blue shade, that might be some debris that was lofted into the Doppler radar beam at that point. Again, not really conclusive. Sometimes you can get a lot of confidence in a signature with these. Sometimes you can't, and this is one of them. So let me go back over to the storm relative at this point, and even that little circulation near Sally Yards, not as pronounced as it was. And as we slide up to the north, this is good. Not really seeing a tight rotation, but this storm has cycled several times. Let's see if it cycles again. One thing that's in our favor as far as disrupting that kind of circulation is the fact that the parent line of thunderstorms as that cold front has been merging with the dry line. If you've been watching us for the past several days, we were talking about the dry line. Anything that goes up along or east of the dry line, that's the tornado threat. That's what happened in Andover and north of Rose Hill tonight. Along the thunderstorm line itself, once the cold front caught the dry line, the primary was going to be damaging wind gust and hail, and even on the very leading edge for a while, some weaker, briefer tornadoes. But the strongest tornado is what developed in parts of extreme eastern Sedgwick County, south of 400, probably around 400, and Harry at that point, and then crossed Andover, did damage to the Y, and then came up to the north. Let's go over to David Scott. David?
All right, thanks, Jay. We are hearing now that Sedgwick County has declared an emergency for the county. We're not hearing a whole lot of reports or seeing a lot of reports of damage in Sedgwick, but there has been an emergency declaration. Let's take a look at what they are saying. A verbal declaration to activate Sedgwick County Emergency Operations Center and the local emergency operations plan. The declaration will help facilities with state aid. It's currently evaluating the damage in southeast Wichita and Sedgwick County. We'll keep you updated on air and online about this at Kake.com. We're also hearing that there are now about 18,000 homes and businesses served by Evergy that are without power. We had heard that about 7,700 of those are in Sedgwick County, and we're hearing that there are about 9,000 homes and businesses, or more than that, just a little bit more than that, in Butler County that are out of power. Also, the sheriff in Reno County, or in Butler County, they aren't exactly issuing a declaration of emergency, but the sheriff is saying, anyone in Butler County, do not go on the roads. Don't go anywhere. Just stay home. Let the emergency workers do what they are doing. We have our Deb Ferris, who has been out at the Y. That is the main area of damage that we are hearing about in the Andover area. We want to go back to her. She's been there for quite a while, and she happens to be off today, but she lives right near that area. Deb, what are you hearing and seeing right now?
Okay, David, can you see our picture now? We are live at the Andover Y. I was right up next to it earlier, but the police have secured the parking lot now. But if you take a look at this video, live video, it's hard to see because it's raining and we're getting some pea-sized hail here. But the front of the Y is gone. There are cars inside the Y. The tornado hit this Y directly and destroyed it. Jay and I were talking earlier about this. It's not flattened, but it's definitely destroyed. Like I said, the front of it is gone. The front walls, which face south, are gone, and there are cars inside. It was flooding earlier when I was right up next to it, and I have some really good video on my Facebook page, on my Kake Facebook page, if you guys want to take a look at that, and you can see right up next to the Y what it looked like from that vantage point. But with our camera this far back, it's kind of hard to see with the rain. I did talk to a couple of police officers. They tell me that right now they have not heard of any injuries in the Andover area, so that is great news. They did say the Y took a direct hit. There were some apartments and homes that were damaged. Right now, because it's dark, they don't know exactly how much damage was done, but we have seen lots of debris, trees ripped out of the ground. I even got a flat tire because I drove over, I guess, a nail at some point. But I will tell you, you just mentioned how the Butler County Sheriff doesn't want anyone in this area. There are so many cars here, sightseers trying to go out and see the damage, that it's preventing the emergency vehicles to get where they need to be. So if you are in the Andover area, stay away. Just go home, stay inside, because they're trying to figure out exactly what's happened here and get everything, get a handle on it. But right now, the Y is the biggest damage that we've seen. The Dillons, which is just a little bit west of here, was not damaged at all. So we will continue to cover this for you guys, and we'll try to get closer if we can in a few minutes.
Yeah, Deb, it really is amazing. It's really amazing that no one at that Y, or anywhere else for that matter, was hurt in this. The Y was open at the time, correct? And people were working out. Was there any evacuation that you've heard of that happened before this?
There should be two back there. You're more than welcome.
Yeah, I just talked to someone who was in the Y working out. Yes, it was open. They were working out. They heard the tornado warnings. They took cover in the locker room. Do we still have that interview that I did with one of the guys who was inside the Y at the time? Okay, if we can run that right now, that'd be great.
It looked like the neighborhood right behind the Dillons here, and it kind of kept going up and down, like real small. And so we started putting everyone in the locker rooms, and then suddenly it just kind of exploded and went right over the Y. And when we were in the locker rooms, everything went dark, and it dusted. Like we had no idea what happened. And then we came out, and the cars were thrown in the front of the Y. The back pool is trashed. Every window is blown out. It's crazy. Like, I've never seen anything like. I've been here 24 years, and I've never seen a tornado before, and that was wild.
Do you work here?
I used to.
Oh, but you were working out.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me.
Wesley Schnauber. Schnauber.
Okay. So Wesley, anybody hurt that you know of?
Not that I know of. Everyone in the locker room seemed fine. Then the police showed up really quickly, but everyone's fine. The Y is flooding as we speak right now. You can hear it flooding right now. It's ruined. I don't know what they'll have. They'll probably have to scrape it and build a new one. But
how were you feeling when all this was happening?
it didn't feel real. It really, because like I've seen tornado warnings all my life. You know, the cliche like Kansas don't care. But and then when it hit, it was so sudden you didn't really have a time to react. It was just kind of like dark and dusty. But once you came outside and saw the shock and awe of it, it kind of is overwhelming. I think it happened so fast, people didn't really react until afterwards, and they kind of had the time to process what had happened.
Yeah, I live up north of here, and I watched the whole thing.
Yeah.
I had no idea that it hit something.
Yeah, it went right by my folks' place up on Indianola, and just shoot north of them. I don't know if it's still going, but yeah.
Gosh, how scary. Honestly, I'm so glad you're okay.
Yeah, I'm glad everyone's okay, and it's all material stuff. It can always be replaced, but no one got hurt, thankfully.
Okay,
But,
thank you so much.
No problem.
I appreciate your time.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, that is just incredible.
Okay, so
that
now
force
you
that we're
are-
looking at right now. Yeah, looking at the pictures of those cars that were thrown from the parking lot over the grass into the lobby of the YMCA. Incredible amount of force there. Amazing that nobody was hurt. Apparently there must have been at least a little bit of warning. Sounds like a lot of people were hunkered down in the locker room that proved to be strong enough to be able to protect all of them. That is just absolutely amazing to look at.
I don't think so. Yeah, it was crazy, David. I'll tell you, I was right up basically in the front of the Y, and I could see those cars in there, and the whole front of the building is gone, and there are trees that were blown over in the parking lot, massive cars, trucks, vans that were turned over and thrown into the front of the Y. But like Wesley just said, no one was hurt in that locker room, and that's just amazing and really incredible. So that's the good news from all of this. Now we can only hope and pray nobody else was injured from these tornadoes that have broken out tonight.
Right, in the Andover area or anywhere else. And we're also hearing a number of homes that were damaged in the Andover area. We have crews searching around the Andover region trying to find where this damage is and see just how bad it is. And fortunately, we have not heard of anyone being injured, and hopefully we won't as we go along throughout the night trying to gather all this information. Again, the sheriff of Butler County is telling everybody, apparently there are a lot of people who are not listening, who are going out and trying to get a look at what's going on out there. That's exactly what they don't want you to be doing. You're just getting in the way of people who are trying to do their jobs. Also, we have an emergency declaration tonight in Sedgwick County. We will get much more of this to you as our crews survey the damage and are getting reports back to us. For now, we'll send it over to Jay.
All right, thanks a lot, David. We still have the line of thunderstorms that's moving through Wichita and back into Andover with the heavy rain. But let's talk about real quickly just the potential for the tornado threat. The tornado warnings now have been canceled for Butler County. It's all Greenwood County now. Let's go back over to the velocity and see if this thing is wrapped back up here. So let's go off to the Wichita. We'll go to the storm relative motion map right there, just between Ivanpah and Lapland. That's the next area of circulation. Here we go 30 minutes ago. And this has been pretty consistent Is it north of Roselia? See how it kind of weakens and then ramps back up. There might be another smaller circulation developing north of 54. I'm going to watch that because Eureka proper, not concerned, but from the airport up to Eureka Lake, if that holds together, that could drift over the airport and towards Eureka Lake. So if you're north of town, go ahead and exercise those tornado precautions. Anywhere around Lapland, you need to still exercise the tornado precautions based on that signature. And that's going to take it over towards Burkett and Hamilton as it crosses US 99. Frank?
Butler County Emergency Management has reported there may be some damage in the vicinity of Roselia, but they're still trying to work on exactly identifying where that is at. And obviously it is dark now, so that makes it all the more challenging. I want to show you this photo right here. This is taken from 21st and Andover Road. So this is north of the YMCA by about 3 miles, and you can look back and see that storm. And then this is obviously what it ended up looking like there with that storm, that tornado just shoving the cars right on into the entranceway of the YMCA. Cheryl Tenbrook sent us that photo. And there's a tremendous amount of photos. I think there's 300 and some reports on my Facebook page right now if you'd like to go check some of those out. I want to give you just kind of a reset here. What are we looking at here with this storm? Because there's a lot of parts of Cakeland we're not talking about. And the reason we're not talking about you is because there's nothing going on. Western Kansas, really pretty quiet. You do have some rain moving into Goodland, Colby. Enjoy the shower. It is not strong. It is not severe. Here's the line of storms as it is pushing to the east. Now, the vast majority of this now south and east of the Kansas Turnpike, so it's becoming much calmer in and around Wichita as these storms slide off to the east. Let's show you that tornado watch. The National Weather Service has steadily been chipping away at this and continuing to drop counties from this, and we're likely going to see more like Marion, Harvey, and Sedgwick County dropped very shortly as those storms move further off to the east. We did have reports from the Kansas Aviation Museum measured on our sensor. I saw it as high as 56 miles per hour with the wind gusts coming through. We're now down to about 27 with that north wind sustained at about 23. You can still see there's lots of lightning flashes in this. If you're in Wichita, you look to the east, you're going to be seeing those. Jay, what do you have?
Let's go back over to the tornado warning that's still in progress for Greenwood County. That circulation in the vicinity of Lapland is still there, not as strong as it was earlier, but it is still there. And that other one, northwest of Eureka, this is weakened quite a little bit, but still anywhere between the airport over towards Eureka Lake, north of town. I would stay in your shelters at this point. This is definitely the more concerning signature near Lapland. We'll see if this kind of ramps back up and intensifies. Not as strong as it was, but based on the storm movement, that'll take it over towards Burkett, Hamilton, and eventually into Bisbee. So let's switch off the velocity mode. Let's go back over to the reflectivity mode of the radar. That's the one that we're used to seeing most of the time. And as I back out the view, it's the line of thunderstorms. The cold front is catching up with that independent cell. Remember, with the independent cells ahead of the dry line could take advantage of the atmosphere and that shear and spin of the atmosphere in order to form tornadoes. That's what happened tonight around Andover, and very likely, I'm thinking south of El Dorado and near 54 between El Dorado and Roselia, even north of 54. A lot of radar indications probably of tornadoes. Earlier, we did have other tornadoes across parts of Dickinson County, crossing 43 south of Enterprise after Enterprise had 3 to 4 inch hail fall. And then we had some other weaker, briefer tornadoes around Carlton, where K4, just to the north of K4 in southern Dickinson County. And then Bryce Kintai was with us. We showed you live some what we call land spouts, or some very weak tornadoes on the leading edge of that line of thunderstorms that was near Tampa in Dickinson County. That was also down in Marion near Hillsboro. And then it was in about that time that we started getting that tornado to develop right along the Sedgwick County, Butler County line, probably in the vicinity of, I'm going to say probably about 143rd to 159th near Harry in that location. And then that's what came up apparently south of the Dillons, and then came north near the YMCA, which is which is east of the intersection of Kellogg and Andover Road, and then came to the north. Now, we were still seeing some good radar signatures on the north side of Kellogg. So what's going to remain here is, okay, we're all focused on what has happened at the YMCA, but then that tornado started tracking due north. And so that's going to take it near Andover Park, near to the east of Andover Park, which would put it just east of the police department, the library, the city hall of Andover, those locations. and then tracking northward. And remember, we were talking to Deb Ferris, and she was still seeing it when it was probably north of the Kansas Turnpike, and it didn't dissipate until it got close to K254 between Towanda and Benton at that time. And earlier, Frank, you were showing us some great photographs from Stearman Field at the restaurant there in Benton of the, one thing that this has been a very photogenic tornado. The base was high enough, and you even mentioned, Frank, that you were seeing it from the west side of town.
That's right, and this gives you that perspective. This is that shot you were talking about, 21st and Andover Road. I mean, very, very high base. When I was coming into the station, I was right by the Sedgwick County Zoo looking across the new water treatment plant, and I could see the tornado from that far away. And you're talking about a considerable distance there across the city. So yes, a very photogenic tornado tonight, and I can't thank our viewers enough for supplying these images for us. And it really drives home the point that these storms can rapidly intensify, they create a tornado, and then they dissipate rapidly as well. And so that's just kind of been the cycle that we've had. And unfortunately, we get images like this. But as we mentioned earlier, these tornadoes, they have not been overly wide tornadoes, so the damage path is narrow. You still have tremendous damage like we're seeing here at the YMCA, but it's just not an overly widespread path. Latest National Weather Service warning coming out here, severe thunderstorm warning. That is going to be for Butler and Greenwood County. So if you are looking at that new warning coming out, Butler and Greenwood County, severe thunderstorm warning, possibility of inch to inch and a half hail with this, and also the wind gust to about 60 miles per hour. We did have some reports in Wichita of straight line wind damage. That was between on Harry between Edgemore and Woodlawn. Of the possibility of some damage there, possibly to some roofs and also to some trees. But that latest severe thunderstorm warning for Butler and Greenwood County, that one's going to go until 11 o'clock. So still about an hour, thinking that these storms do have a fair amount of strength.
All right, sorry about that. Just getting a text from my family. Everything's fine with it. We live in near close to the Andover Wichita city limit, so I was just making sure everything was okay there. They're good, and we continue to keep an eye on what's going on. And Frank, do me a favor, call down to the newsroom because I just got some info. You remember Eric Duncan? Eric Duncan was very close to that tornado, says he has some footage we want to see. So let the newsroom know to expect a call from Eric, and we'll try to get that on air for you. So as we go back over to Kake's First Alert Doppler HD, let me put this in motion for you over the past 30 minutes. And I could still... as this continues to track on off towards the east here, let me zoom in, and we're going to track it from the south down to the north. That leading edge is out ahead of the line of thunderstorms here. That is the first outflow. So the winds shift out of the northwest as soon as that line passes you. That's good because the farther that line is away from the heavy rain, that's going to eliminate the leading edge QLCS tornado threat that we're going to be concerned about as this comes through. Now, as we slide on up to the north, that line's kind of caught back up over here towards Beaumont and up to Eureka. So we're going to watch between here and there to see if any curls form on the leading edge. Notice Eureka got a little curl here, so I would just play it safe and go ahead, shelter down, because not only is there the potential of the tornado on the leading edge here, let me go back over to the velocity, but you could have some enhanced wind gust with that. Anytime you see a little curl on the leading edge of this line of storms giving this environment here. So, okay, Eureka, maybe got some gusty winds rolling through now as this continues through Butler County, through Greenwood County, exiting Sedgwick County, and that's where we have severe thunderstorm warnings still in effect. So severe thunderstorm warning until 11 o'clock for Butler and Greenwood County, severe thunderstorm warning for southeastern Sedgwick and Butler County until 10:30. And as this holds together, warnings will be coming out for Elk County, including Howard. Warnings will be coming out for Cowley County, including Atlanta and over towards the old Grand Summit Station. Now, the tornado warning, notice that area of circulation that we had near Ivanpah. This is gotten occluded. It's completely kind of wrapped into itself. The line of thunderstorms has caught up with it. I know we still have, if you look in the red box there, that's still a tornado warning coming up until 10 o'clock. Well, that's 1 minute away, and I don't see why the National Weather Service would extend it at this point. So let's kind of back out the view here one more time. We're looking at the velocity data, not really seeing anything that's rotating at this point. Again, that circulation near Ivanpah that was heading towards Hamilton. Notice how that's occluded. That's looking really good there. So, actually, let me go back over and, I'm kind of getting a little clicky here. Frank, what have you got? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, just hit the home button. I think we're going to be fine.
West of Andover Road on Harry. Our cell service, I can't even check.
Okay. Eli, you're live on Kake.
Hey, Jay, yeah, sorry about that. Take a look at this, though. We are actually stuck about a quarter mile west of Andover Road on Harry. We're stuck in between two different road closures. So take a look at the traffic. I don't know if you can see that over my shoulder, but it's backed up. We couldn't leave here if we wanted to. But right in front of us, we did find this big tree that is totally blocking this driveway. Now, kind of like Jay has been saying over the last several minutes of our coverage, it is still a dangerous situation out here. The rain and the hail finally just let up a bit, but there's power lines down all over us. Nobody knows yet if those are still active. So really, it's like we've been stressing. Your best bet right now is to just stay where you're at. Let all of this die down. Let these first responders finish their initial survey before you go out and try to jam up more of this traffic. We'll keep you covered. I'm reporting live. Eli Higgins, Kake News on your side.
All right, so let's go back over to Kake's First Alert Doppler HD. I'm going to track back over to the reflectivity mode of the radar. Let's kind of get everything reset. We're going to reset the scene for you. And as we zoom in here, fortunately, the tornado threat, other than a leading edge spin up, is really on the downhill side. Down here especially, I'm not really concerned. We're going to continue watching basically from Beaumont through Eureka, this edge of Kake Land. Everything back behind that, sure, this is going to be heavy rain and some gusty winds, but not damaging winds at this point. Let's go back over the past 30 minutes. I'm going to kind of reposition the radar for you here. And notice this line of thunderstorms is building back to the southwest. So Clearwater, it looks like it's going to get past you, and then the thunderstorms may develop back down to Wellington as the line moves, potentially Caldwell. Our Kansas City, you're probably going to see this line of thunderstorms develop on top of you. Same thing with Winfield, as this will move across eastern parts of Sumner County and move across Cowley County. But since that leading outflow is far enough ahead of the developing thunderstorms, I'm not concerned about a tornado risk at this point. It would just be the potential for damaging wind gusts, some very heavy rain, and some smaller hail. The heaviest rain right now, northern parts of Greenwood County down through Butler County. So now let's go back over to Deb Ferris. Deb?
Yeah, Jay, we are live at the Andover Y here, just south of Kellogg and just east of Andover Road. You can see behind me here a lot of emergency vehicles. The Andover Y took a direct hit from that tornado a couple of hours ago. It's kind of hard to see from here, but we do have some incredible video of it up close. There are cars in the front parking or the front lobby of the YMCA. There were people working out inside the Y at the time. They tell me that they got the warning, they went down into the locker room to ride out the storm, and that's when the tornado hit. If we can roll that interview again, that would be great with the guy who was inside the Y.
It looked like the neighborhood right behind the Dillons here, and it kind of kept going up and down, like real small. And so we started putting everyone in the locker rooms, and then suddenly just kind of exploded and went right over the Y. And when we were in the locker rooms, everything went dark, and it dusted. Like we had no idea what happened. And we came out, and the cars were thrown in the front of the Y. The back pool is trashed. Every window is blown out. It's crazy. Like, I've never seen anything like. I've been here 24 years, and I've never seen a tornado before, and that was wild.
Do you work here?
I used to.
Oh,
but
you were working out.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me
Wesley Schnauber. Schnaauber.
Okay. So Wesley, anybody hurt that you know of?
Not that I know of. Everyone in the locker room seemed fine. Then the police showed up really quickly, but everyone's fine. The Y is flooding as we speak right now. You can hear it flooding right now. It's ruined. I don't know what they'll have. They'll probably have to scrape it and build a new one. But
How were you feeling when all this was happening?
it didn't feel real. It really, because like I've seen tornado warnings all my life. You know, the cliche like Kansas don't care. But and then when it hit, it was so sudden you didn't really have a time to react. It was just kind of like dark and dusty. But once you came outside and saw the shock and awe of it, it kind of is overwhelming. I think it happened so fast, people didn't really react until afterwards, and they kind of had the time to process what had happened.
Yeah, I live up north of here, and I watched the whole thing.
Yeah.
I had no idea that it hit something.
Yeah, it went right right by my folks' place up on Indianola, and I just shoot north of them. I don't know if it's still going, but yeah.
Gosh, how scary. Well, Leslie, I'm so glad you're okay.
Yeah, I'm glad everyone's okay, and it's all material stuff. It can always be replaced, but no one got hurt, thankfully.
Okay,
but,
thank you so much.
No problem.
I appreciate your time.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, so as you heard there, he was inside the Y working out when it took a direct hit. Again, we're at the Andover Y, which is just south and east of Andover Road and Kellogg. Lots of damage here. You can see all the emergency vehicles. They're trying to get the area secured. There is debris everywhere here. Trees are down. There are boards in the road. I've seen parts of roofs laying in the street and in the grass around here. There are some apartments just west of here that took not really a direct hit, but from what I'm hearing, there is damage there. We have video of the tornado, and you could see the debris coming up out of from the ground whenever a tornado hits like that. You can see that. Now, I did talk to police, several different police officers here from the Andover Police Department. They tell me right now there are no reports of any injuries, so that is good news. There are obviously reports of damage from the tornado as it moved north of here and here in the Andover area. Andover, no power at this point, so it's very dark out here, and they're asking everyone to stay home. There have been a lot of people who've been out driving around trying to see the damage. They're asking for people to stay home at this point. Of course, we'll continue to cover this and tell you about the damage as we get more information. For now, we're live in Andover. Deb Ferris, Kake News.
All right, thanks, Deb. Deb talked about all the power outages in the Andover area, and I just checked the outage map from Evergy, and the number is growing. It's now up to 5,600 homes and businesses in Butler County that are without power. We now have what may be the best view so far of just what happened to that Y when this tornado came through. We have this video that just came to us from a very well-known storm chaser, Reed Timmer, who was right there when this happened. Let's take a look at what we have from Reed, can we? All right, there is the twister forming right there. We can see. Okay, there we go. We can see on the ground, look at the dust that is being churned up on the ground, and wow, look at it. It's whacking that Y. It's a direct hit. Look at it rip that building apart. That is just amazing. And then he has some drone video, or that's the drone video. I believe we also have another shot from Reed. There it is. A closer shot of it tearing right through the YMCA parking lot and hitting another building there. Yeah, let's get Jay in on this.
Rack that back up again, because I can tell you where we are. He's in the Dillon's parking lot. Those are the Cornerstone Apartments just around the roundabout on Cloud, and the Y is just to the east. So, wow, you talk about the tornado, it crossed. Remember, it was going towards the northeast, and then it made that hook, and at this point it's traveling pretty much north. So we've damaged the Y, but the big question mark we have not answered at this point is what damage exists on the north side of Kellogg, because this thing went due north, east of Andover, probably east of the police department, east of City Hall, east of Andover Park, and then crossed the turnpike before it dissipated near K254 between Towanda and Benton. But, oh wow, that drone footage. Yeah. My goodness. But that's where you could tell where the Y is getting struck at that point. So there it is. It's approaching the. Can we drop the lower? There you go. Okay. Now watch this. It's approaching the Y. The Y is the flat roof building there. And there. And look how small the vortex is. This is a thin tornado. It's not a wedge tornado. This is a cone tornado. So you can't relate size of circulation or width of circulation to wind speed or violence. So you're looking at a cone tornado do incredible damage. Now notice there's still a lot of, there's still the wall standing there, but wow. Talk about Reed being in the right place with this as this spun up with the drone video. And does ABC have a relationship with Reed? Is this why we're able to use this? It's cleared through ABC. So, all right, man, this is it's a very impressive video, and we're just so thankful nobody has been injured in this incident here. But yeah, that's what we're seeing here. But still, The question mark we have, and we have not had answered yet, is what damage has occurred on the east side of Andover, north of Kellogg, between Kellogg and the Turnpike, because that circulation was still very evident on radar, even as it got north of the Kansas down before it got to K254. Wow. So do we have any, I take it there's no nat sound with this. This is just the drone video. And what was now, were both of the videos we seen, were these both from Reed? Was one drone and one, so they were both his video. Okay. All right. Well, and again, if you have video to share with us, please, you can always tweet at us at Kake News. We can get it that way. You can put it onto our Facebook page at Kake, and we would appreciate that. But yeah, just an incredible video of the tornado as it formed in far eastern Sedgwick County. I'm going to have to go back and look at here we are. This is the parking lot of Dillon's. That's Cornerstone Apartments you're looking at just on the east side of the roundabout. So he's in the parking lot of the Dillon's right next to Andover Road, just south of Kellogg. You see the cone tornado there. And okay, obviously that's always, okay, there we go. We get back now. Okay, try to get back on it. But yeah, that's where the Y is just east of what you see. So the apartments are between the Dillon's and the Y. And the Y is just on the other side of the road. I'm not sure if it's Yorktown that continues south of that intersection or not, but that eventually is going to stay very close to or just to the east of Yorktown Parkway. Now, along Yorktown Parkway is Andover Central Park, and to the east of that is Andover Middle School, Andover Central, and in Andover Park associated, that's where Andover Library is, the City Hall, the Police Department. So we don't know if any of those structures have been impacted by this storm at this time. But at this point, that tornado was pretty much moving due north to south, Frank. I mean, you watch the velocity data with me on that one. And later, now that tornado dissipated near K254, and then later on that tornado recycled. There was a different circulation with that, and that's what produced that very large hail in Butler County near El Dorado.
Yeah, and you have some photos of that large hail. This is one of those big hailstones. This was Prospect, so this is just east of El Dorado. Amber Payton sent us that one, so for reference. And I tell you what, we love photos like this. When you can send us a reference point, quarter size, that is severe. I mean, that right there is probably at least 2-inch hail that fell there. So Amber, unfortunately, that may do some damage. This one here came from Wichita 47th and Seneca. That is also larger than quarter size. Thank you so much, Kimberly Brooks, for sending that photo in. And one more for you. This was on the south side of Wichita. Some gnarly hailstones there from Scott Beard, likely larger than quarter sized. So yes, it wasn't all just tornado damage tonight. It was also hail damage. There's going to be some folks contacting their insurance agents, and we've also heard reports of straight line wind damage. And I have a feeling as sunrise comes tomorrow, folks are going to be finding more tree limb damage and that sort of thing with that line kind of coming through here after dark.
All right. Thank you very much, Frank. And Reed's video, that was very impressive. But let's kind of update you on the current scene. So here we are live with Kake's First Alert Doppler HC. Let's kind of run down all the severe thunderstorm warnings. We'll start with the southern end now. Severe thunderstorm warning for southern Butler, for northern Cali, for extreme southeastern Sedgwick, and for extreme southeastern Sumner County. That is until 10:30. Then we have another severe thunderstorm warning. This is for Butler County and just a very small corner of eastern Sedgwick County until 10:30. Then a severe thunderstorm warning now for eastern Butler County and parts of Greenwood County until 11 o'clock Central Time. Notice there are no more tornado warnings in Cakeland. It is all severe thunderstorm warnings. And look how this has just erupted in the past 10 minutes. The line is completely connected along the cold front. We have thunderstorms all the way down into Oklahoma now, and along that leading edge, there is still the potential for wind gusts to exceed 60 miles per hour. So you got the line of storms here. That's the outflow. That's once you get past that, the winds immediately snap around to the northwest. You get those wind gusts potentially up to 60 miles per hour. Now, I'm still going to watch where the outflow intersects the storm line south of Beaumont here in the extreme southeastern edge of Butler County, which is getting into Elk County, just because anytime we have the outflow still kind of connected to where the convection's going up, that could potentially get some rotation here, and we will watch it. So let's go over and look at the storm relative motion map, and we're going to go into the velocity mode here. We're going to look at the southern edge of this, and then we're going to go from the south to the north. We'll put it in motion over the past 30 minutes for you. That's the winds coming out of the northwest, where you change from that red over to the yellow. That's where you have that potential wind gust exceeding 60 miles per hour. So that's just getting into Perth now. It's already south through Wellington. It's through Oxford, heading towards Winfield. So Winfield, you haven't had that shift to the wind out of the northwest yet. It is on the way. Then we'll continue to track that line back over to the east. There's that outflow from New Salem over to north of Burden. That's going to be winds gusting out of the northwest. Now, remember, we said the outflow was kind of connected back to the thunderstorm line here. There is some weak rotation. This is just the southeastern corner of Butler County. Within 5 minutes, that's going to be into western parts of Elk. So along K99 and Howard, we might see a little weak, brief spin up on that leading edge. May not last very long, but that could produce a smaller tornado in addition to some damaging wind gusts as that gets into parts of western Elk County. And then we'll continue to push the line back over. And as we look along that leading edge here, don't really see any tight circulations that's giving us cause for alarm at this point. Remember earlier near Lapland past Ivanpah, we did have a circulation that got swept up in that line of thunderstorms. And right now I'm not seeing anything that's rotational that has me concerned, just the potential all along that line for some wind gusts that could exceed 60 miles per hour. So David, we got anything from you over there on the desk, or have can we go back to Deb or Eli? What have we got available? All right, let's go back over to David Scott. David?
I just think it's interesting to note that while we haven't had any actual damage reports in Sedgwick County, there are a lot of people without power right now. Evergy is reporting about 7,500. Now that is actually down from a little while ago. There have been 8,800 homes and businesses without power. So obviously the high wind is causing some kind of damage out there. And you know that there are more than just power lines that have been damaged here. They're probably going to be finding out about some kind of damage that's been left behind by these winds in Sedgwick County. So it definitely has not gotten away unscathed. Butler County, things are still in about the 5,600 homes and businesses that are without power there. And once again, the sheriff in Butler County is telling everyone to stay off the road, stay home, do not get in their way, because they have so much work to do right now to try to figure out what all has happened there. We have our crews up in that area who are trying to find other areas that were hit other than the Y, because it'd be amazing looking at that twister that we just watched a while ago, the way it cut through that area. It'd be incredible if the Y was the only thing that was hurt. I mean, it went right by that apartment complex. We're taking a look at that. We're in touch with the emergency management there to try to figure out just what all has been impacted. All right, let's send it back to Deb, who is in Andover with the latest on what she is seeing and hearing there. Deb?
Hey, David. Yeah, we are still at the Andover YMCA. A lot of the emergency vehicles have left here, so you can't really see behind me. But if we could show that picture of the car in the front of the Andover Y, that tells the whole story. It'll be just a second is what I'm told. Anyway, what else I am told is that there are no injuries in Andover at this point, but there is a lot of damage. Roofs are off the homes. There are people who have been walking around trying to figure out what the heck they're going to do next, because there's so much damage in this area. The apartments just west of the Andover Y were also hit. The Dillons, which is right next to that, was not hit, but there is no power here in Andover, so it is completely pitch black at this point. Again, police have told us at this point no injuries to report, and they want everyone to stay home if you can, because there are so many people that are out driving around. Okay, I'm told that picture is up right now, so you can see that car in the front of the YMCA. We did talk to someone who was in the Y working out when that tornado hit. He said everyone took cover in the locker room, and then they heard what sounded like a big explosion and then lots of dust and debris. And luckily, no one was hurt. They got out, and everybody was fine, but that Y is destroyed, as you can see by that picture of that car. We are just talking to someone over here who has some really good video of the tornado. I'm going to see if he'll come over here. Hey, sir, do you mind coming over real quick? Sure. Okay. Yeah, he's talking to Cam right now. Hi.
Hey
So
there.
I understand you have some really good video of
I have
the tornado.
amazing video. I just don't have cell service right now, so
Okay.
it's not coming through.
That's okay. Where were you when this hit?
My mother is Kim Harth. She works at Kake TV.
Yes, she does.
I was in Crescent Lakes, we're eating dinner, and it hooked around our house. So it literally, like a question mark, went just around our house. And I have just incredible footage.
Okay. Oh, there it is. Show the camera if you can. Turn it. Yeah.
Yeah,
That is amazing. Let me. I'm trying to see.
it's hard to see because of the light.
Does it look okay? Closer to the camera. Yeah.
I'm stepping in front of the tree there.
Okay, we're going to turn the light off. There. That'll help you guys see it better. So just describe what was going through your mind when you saw that.
I have no words really at the moment. I have so much adrenaline going through me from this experience. It is so much taller in real life, and you could feel the tornado, and you could hear the debris being just. Excuse my language there.
Oh no, that's okay.
Yeah. It was wild. I don't have words for it. I just don't have words for you right now. It's just I need to calm down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Typically how your first tornado goes.
Yeah. It was wild.
Did any of the homes in Crescent Lakes get hit?
Not that I am aware of, none. But the farms just north of Crescent Lakes look like they took a hit there.
The farms?
I would assume so because you can see the debris really just coming up and lifting off there. Here's some other.
Yeah,
videos
that is
here.
insane video.
Did you get it? Did you get the video?
Tell me your name again, sir.
I'm Gage Harth.
Okay, Gage.
Oh, I do.
I'm going to turn this light.
Okay.
Can you turn the light back on, Cam?
I'm going to send this to Kake.
Okay.
It went through.
It went through. So we're going to send that video in.
I will.
Okay. So Gage
Harth.
Gage Harth. Okay, Gage. So you're at home. You see the tornado. Instead of going to your basement, you and I both went outside and took video.
Well, at first we went to the basement. It was crazy. So we were in the basement, but I had this feeling like it was past us at that point because we were down there for a while. And so I come up shooting up upstairs, and I go out to the deck, and it is 400 yards away. It is really close, and I can feel it. It was rumbling everything, and I just don't. I have goosebumps talking about it right now. It was just wild.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you're okay.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to see
Is
something
everyone
like
okay
that.
here? I mean.
Yeah, the
Okay.
Y took a direct hit, but no one was injured. People were working out, but they went into the basement. So a lot of people are just hearing about all this. So, Gage, thank you. I appreciate your time with this. It's so
Of
nice
course.
to meet you.
Yes,
and
it's very
thank
nice
you for
meeting you.
sharing that video with us.
Absolutely. Yeah, I have more. I'm going to send it to him right
Okay,
now.
very good. Thank you.
Take care. Yeah.
You too. So that was Gage Harth. He lives in Crescent Lakes, which is just up here at Central and Andover Road. We'll get that video on air clearly for you in a minute, but he says it literally just wrapped around their neighborhood. But he said from the debris, you could tell it hit the farms that are just northwest of Andover. So I'm sure there is some damage up there as well. Right now, David, I'm going to send it back to you. We're going to see if we can get a little bit closer to the Y now that the emergency vehicles have cleared the area. So for now, Deb Ferris, Kake News on your side.
All right, thanks, Deb.
Remember,
Obviously, a
this is
lot of
TV,
people have a lot to be
so
thankful
we
for
don't cuss.
tonight. You know, with all the power that this thing had hitting that Y and throwing those cars all the way from the parking lot right into the lobby of that building there and basically destroying it. It's just incredible with all the things that were around there, the apartment complex, the Dillons, that more things haven't been, at least we haven't heard that more things have been destroyed in that area. Again, the Butler County Sheriff is telling people to stay off the roads. Sedgwick County has issued an emergency disaster declaration. We can maybe show that to you right now and to show you what that's all about. Basically, it's just going to enact some state funding to try to take care of whatever has happened in Sedgwick County. And apparently there's some sort of damage in Sedgwick County because we have a lot of people who are without power. And this is a verbal declaration to activate the County Emergency Operations Center and the Local Emergency Operations Plan. The declaration will help to, as I said, use that state aid that the county is going to have to use to repair whatever damage has been caused in the county by this storm. Let's send it over to Jay, who has an interview. Jay.
All right, this is Eric Duncan. Eric used to chase for us quite a while back in the day. Glad to see you back, but I hate to see you under these circumstances. Where were you tonight?
Well, earlier tonight I was in Andover, Kansas, just coming across, I think it was 96, and got off on Kellogg when you see that tornado ripping through the town. And
we got your videos that loaded up now?
See, and that tornado honestly went from 0 to 100 quick. Right about there is when it got super intense. You see the power flashes, you see the debris going in the air. You got helical vortexes, as you call them, as you know. But in case anybody, the regular public, isn't aware of what those are,
Whoa.
That's an indication of a highly intense vortex. Violent tornado.
I have not seen that since Oklahoma.
It's been
Have
a
you
while.
seen that in a while? And that was a, let's face it, that is a small circulation, but that is a violent circulation.
Very violent circulation.
And okay, once again, where were you when you shot this? Were you on Andover Road or were you on Kellogg?
Andover Road.
So you're on Andover Road. Are you close to the intersection with Kellogg at this point?
Not too far from there. Honestly, I was just trying to get up to it. I couldn't remember exactly where I was at the time.
So, okay, so right now, is the circulation, can you tell, is it north of Kellogg at this point, or is it still south of Kellogg at this point? Do you know?
It's north of Kellogg, coming up on 35.
So, okay, so it has not crossed the Kansas Turnpike at this point?
Correct, it has not crossed, and that shot right there you're looking at.
All right, so this is what we were talking about earlier. We were wondering how much damage was occurring north of Kellogg, between Kellogg and Andover Road, because the radar indications were still very intense. Now, do you know, did this get close to Andover Park, you know, the police station, the city hall there?
They took a pretty close glance. I don't know if they took a direct hit, as I was not able to really access that particular area after the tornado had moved through at that time, because there were down power lines, debris everywhere, and law enforcement was just trying to do their best to keep people out of there and keep the situation as safe and under control as possible.
So, okay, so are you look like are you southbound on Andover Road looking off to the east?
Right now, in that shot that you're looking at,
Okay.
I believe I'm currently eastbound.
On what, 13th at this point? Are you still on? Because
think
Andover
so.
Road's a north-south road. So, okay, oh, look at the damage path there. So you know what intersection you are at this point?
I don't, unfortunately. I haven't gone through it. I've honestly...
Look at that denuded. Okay, and so, okay, so you're heading eastbound at that point. Could you have turned off Andover Road? I'm thinking maybe you've turned on to either 13th or Central. Do you have, because I'm trying to figure out where we are. You're south of the Turnpike, correct?
Correct.
All right, and I got to admit, I don't think you're on, you said you think you're heading eastbound, correct? And the tornado's heading north away from you?
I believe so.
Okay, so I'm trying to figure out what just based, okay. But I'm just trying to figure out the structures here where you are at this point, because clearly you just drove through a damage path there.
Yeah.
And I know that it crossed. Now, are you north of Kellogg or south of Kellogg at this point?
South of Kellogg at that point.
Oh, so he's south of Kellogg. So that was probably where it crossed Kellogg before. Is this before it got to the YMCA, or my goodness, this thing? Look how quickly this evolved into a well-developed cone tornado. Now you saw it basically at tornado genesis, right?
Absolutely, from birth to death.
Okay, and so you're moving at a pretty good clip of speed here, so I'm going to guess that you're, okay, I think you're on, are you on Andover Road at this point, or are you on Kellogg?
I am actually, trying to pull up.
Are we getting close to the end here, Eric, or?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, I mean,
so I'll tell you what, let's go ahead and come on back out to us. Let's re-rack that up again, because what I'm going to do next time you go through, let's try to get the bearings and the timing down. And while that's up and you voice that, I tell you what, I'm going to get on weather 1. I'm going to see if I can how far I can go back with the velocity data. We can piece it. So are you back at the genesis of that? So okay, let's take weather 2 full screen while we get the video reset. Frank, let's walk back through the timeline on that tornado. So here we are at 8:25. Okay, so you see the circulation there south. Okay, now that's where it crosses the turnpike. So we can go, how far back can we go? And there it is, moving through Andover. Keep on going back. That's where it's crossing the Y. Right there, I think that's where the Y is being hit, because you can see East Cloud, the circulation's right on Kellogg. Boom. Right there, the circulation is crossing Andover Road. I'm going to zoom it a little tighter, Frank. I'm guessing that's around Harry, or just to the north of Harry or Pawnee. There's Pawnee. Go in just a little bit tighter, eventually it'll come up. So, okay, so yeah, scroll up to the north there. And there's where your circulation is, right at Harry. So it looks like at about Harry and Butler Road, which is Andover Road, named south of Kellogg at that point. That looks like where that circulation is. And so now you can kind of walk it forward in time, Frank, and it's going to make that jog to the northeast. Okay, so now
Street.
we're getting behind, it's back behind the Dillons, between Harry and back behind Dillons. And then with the next one, it's probably going to be heading over to, boom, there you go. Now it's over near the YMCA at Kellogg. And from there, it's pretty much going to take off due north. And this is where I was current, if you pan up to a little bit, where I was thinking it was go back one volume scan, go back 2 volume scan, and right, come back one more, right there, pan up to the north. And this is where I was thinking that, see that circulation, and you got to remember because of storm tilt, but if you tighten up just a little bit, right north of Central Avenue, you'll see it right, and that's where, yeah, right in there, that's where, I thought it was near Andover Central Middle, but that could be because it just parallaxed with the storm tilt that was actually farther to the east. So, okay, so you think you got your bearings straight? You want ready to rack it up again, Eric?
Yeah, go ahead and rack it up.
Okay, so let's re-rack the video and we'll start it from scratch. All right, so you intercepted, you were on Andover. Let's go ahead and roll the video with his mic hot. And so you were starting on Butler Road, heading northbound at this point, correct?
Yeah, so I got off on 96. Yeah, right there. It looks like I got off on 96, Highway 96. There, cruised over Monarchy, that's 35. And over Hope Community Church. Not far from Hope Community Church. That's not far from right there. That's not far from Hope Community Church.
Okay, so that's close. Okay, so at the beginning, that's near Hope Community Church when you picked it up. Do you recall what? Oh, and there you got the power line flash.
That sign.
That's Kellogg heading east right
there. Okay.
Apartment sign too. So that is just after it passed
400.
the YMCA.
Yeah, 96.
So you're looking east there, right by the apartments.
So that's
now
over
it's
by
north
Andover,
of Kellogg.
yeah, Cornerstone Apartments, and then across the street is Andover.
To your right.
Yeah, and then that's, okay.
So this is when it is north of Kellogg right there.
And that's Andover Crossing Apartments is the next apartment complex by Atwoods, back behind Atwoods over there. So, okay.
Yeah, north of Kellogg, south of 35. So that's 35, that's Kellogg. And that's when it really started doing damage right here.
Okay. And so
Southwest
now it's north of Kellogg at this point,
Yes.
and we think it's probably to the east of Yorktown Parkway. Yorktown Parkway is where you've got Andover Park to the east of Andover Parkway, and you've got Andover Central Middle School just to the west of Andover Parkway at that intersection. And you said this was probably a close call for the police station, City Hall, which is located north of Andover Park.
Central Park.
Yes.
That's correct. Butler Community College. It looks like, I don't know if Butco or Butler Community took a direct hit or not, but I think it went west of there or east of there. I believe it was east of Butler Community College. So
Okay,
I think they're okay.
So this would have taken it probably to the east of Meadowlark Road at that point, would be my guess. And look at this well-defined, very impressive cone tornado at this point. And this does correlate with probably some of the strongest velocity signatures we saw with this storm as it was developing. It's amazing how quickly this spun up. Eric, how did you know to make this the sell of the day? How were you on this one?
So, to tell you the truth, Jay, I was posted up in Park City the majority of the day, and I was just waiting on the dry line to, be the focal point for storms to develop. Honestly, I didn't know if it was going to happen. I was kind of starting to like, okay, the Wichita area's in the clear, and I was actually fixing to find a hotel. And then I was tracking a storm that went up to the Harvey County area near Bueller and Whitewater. And I was watching the cell develop to the south on the southeast side, or actually east central side of Wichita. And I noticed they kind of started to split, and I looked back off to the southwest and noticed a well-defined mesocyclone. And that initial storm, which had a pretty good clip movement to it, started to slow and stall. And as you know, when you see a storm start to stall and turn to the east, that typically means it's about to produce a tornado. And as you know, and as you've informed the community in Kake land over the past couple of days well in advance, today was the day that if there was going to be a tornado, it did have the potential to be strong. So at that point, I knew I had to dive southwest and get into the mezzo and try to get as close to this thing as I could.
And this one, I think you're on Kellogg, and you're heading eastbound on Kellogg, and that tornado is going away from you to the north. And at this point, it's probably getting close to, if not cross, the Kansas Turnpike, and is heading towards K254 between Towanda and Benton. And we're not really seeing, because it's based near the ground, still well in contact with the ground, but it's not as big a cone. You could still see the debris cloud that's getting kicked up with that. Considering you were on the moist side of the dry line, I was really surprised how high the bases of the storms were today, getting this kind of motion. Was this what you expected in terms of a setup?
Honestly, I was kind of surprised as well. I was. It was kind of one of those days where I was concerned about mixing of the dry line where you have that dry air, elevated above the surface, mixing into the low levels. And typically when you have that, you get even higher bases. But today was kind of one of those days where I know that we had some boundaries laying around. I know there was an outflow boundary from previous night's
you know what? I know just the fact we re-rec that, I know exactly where you are in Kellogg approaching the intersection of Yorktown Parkway. So I know exactly where this is. Yes, the Y is just less than 1/4 mile east of where you are right now. So as this is crossing, like I said, past Yorktown Parkway. So it's already past the Andover Crossing apartments at this point, and it's also very close to Andover Park. I'm really I don't know if there's been any damage to any of the City of Andover's infrastructure. There's City Hall, Library, Police Station, all co-located on Andover Central Park, and boy, talk about a close call. There might have been some damage there. And this was very close to Andover Central Middle School and Andover Central High School, just east of those locations. So you rolled up on this just as it was basically spinning up, damaging the YMCA, and then here pretty shortly you're stopped. You're going to proceed eastbound, and very quickly we're going to go through the damage path as that crossed Kellogg.
Yeah.
So you were right. You were right on this. So here you go. Here's where you're starting to jog eastbound again. You're starting to get into the debris. Any damage to your vehicle with this, or did you stay out of the debris?
The camera doesn't do it justice, I'll be honest. At that range, I was probably 250 yards from it, and with situations like that, you got to be careful with debris ripping around and going, left to right. Honestly, it's not a concern of it falling out of the sky because there's so much violent motion.
Now we're getting into the debris path.
Yeah, if you want to pause that,
you want to pause that right there
so they can see that.
I don't know if we're able to, but yeah, there you can see where the trees are denuded at this point. You still got some standing, but right now you're crossing through the path.
Correct.
And that's far enough east of Yorktown Parkway where I can see where it probably missed the bulk of Andover Central Park at that point. I forget what kind of structures are located there, but yeah, right now you're kind of between Andover and the Augusta Municipal Airport along Kellogg. We're not hearing the audio with this. What kind of inflow was coming into the storm? Or the winds?
Don't have any audio on that.
I'm not.
That was, Jay, I've been chasing for 16 years. I've seen Greensburg. I've seen all kinds of tornadoes in Kake land and across, the lower 48 as a whole. But that tornado was by far one of the loudest tornadoes I've ever heard. It had that waterfall sound to it, per typical tornado, but it also unfortunately had that jet engine sound.
Okay.
And if anybody's been close to tornado,
and that audio is on this?
Oh, yeah.
Is your audio PG? Can I use your audio?
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's re-rack it. Let's re-rack it from the beginning again, and let's let the audio ride this time. We had the audio down, so we're going to go ahead and we start at the beginning again, and we get audio.
Oh my God.
My goodness.
Yeah, you can tell that's the YMCA
that
right there, and that horizontal vortex. I have not seen one of those in years. That's indicative of very strong inflow into a strong to violent tornado. Again, width does not equal wind speed.
You are correct.
We're now north of Kellogg, and okay, now I can hear the microphone shuddering because of the inflow into the storm. You're witnessing as Eric Duncan shot this. We're not seeing much, so you can take in the entirety of the ambient audio going on with this storm. And it is still churning. Look at the debris cloud. This thing is still kicking up as it moves northward. Right now it's between Kellogg and the Kansas Turnpike.
Jay, that tornado still had debris wrapping around the vortex itself, probably 5 miles north of where it is right now where you're seeing it. It still had debris circling around.
And you can still hear the wind flow overcoming the microphone.
Yeah, it was violent.
And at this point, you're quite some distance from the storm. I'm going to say it's probably at least a mile away from you right now, right?
At that point, let me just get a shot back. Yeah, you're looking at about 1 mile.
And then we start getting into the damage path.
Oh no.
At this point. I know, just everything
God.
denuded here, and
what you're looking at right now was when the tornado was clearly at its peak intensity when it crossed Kellogg, right there, and it was at its loudest and it was at its most intense.
I can't recall what type structures are there, but you can clearly see that we've had significant damage to structures. So when the Weather Service gets out and surveys, we'll see what the rating is going to be on this storm, but clearly a strong to violent
No, I
tornado.
didn't see any houses back there.
Okay.
I just saw some substructures. It looked like some industrial, but it
saying
didn't look like there were any houses back there, fortunately.
Okay. I know with video you cannot assess an EF rating to a tornado. They'll go out and use damage indicators based on structural engineering and the structures that were struck and what damage was caused to those structures. I know a lot of times based on whether it's a rope tornado, a cone tornado, or a wedge tornado, people try to immediately assign values to it. We're not going to do that here, but just based on that damage path with the trees heavily denuded and snapped off, that indicates it's industry. What happened to the Y? We know that this is definitely a strong tornado. We'll see what the rating winds up being on this. So once this kind of now, did you see it all the way until dissipation, or how long were you shooting this storm?
Yeah, so I tracked that tornado. Let me go ahead and pull up my timeline. Stand by just a second. I tracked that tornado all the way up until Meadow Creek Farms, which is located at the intersection of Southwest 40th and Tawanki.
Tawanda.
Tawakoni,
sorry. Okay, yeah.
Tawakoni.
Thanks, Frank.
I was halfway there.
Okay.
Tawakoni Road, and at that point, it really started to rope out and dissipate.
Okay.
And you'll see that on the video.
Here's right where it's going over the YMCA at Andover, just to the east of Yorktown Parkway in Kellogg.
That is correct.
And
I'm sorry for the lack of stability on the shot.
well,
I had to
that
chase
horizontal vortex.
Yeah, I had to chase solo today, and normally when you chase, you always want to have a partner, as you know. But he was unavailable today, so I had to run and gun by myself and navigate, watch the tornado, shoot video at the same time, and it's just not easy to do. So I hope the quality speaks for itself. Let the tornado speak for itself, not my shaky hand.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's go back over to. Let's go back over to David Scott and Eric. Don't go anywhere. We may want to talk to you a little more about what you encountered today.
Absolutely.
Thank you for being here.
You got it.
All right, David.
All right, thanks, Jay. Yeah, the governor has not wasted any time in calling for action in helping these communities. She has signed a declaration of emergency across the state to help these communities. Provided state help with any recovery efforts they are going to need. Also, we're being told that the Sedgwick County Emergency Operations Center has been activated to help Andover as well. All Wichita Police Command have been directed to assist with emergency management, and they are echoing what the Butler County Sheriff is saying tonight, and that is stay off the streets, stay home. There's so much work for these different emergency agencies to do tonight that you're just getting in their way and keeping them from helping the people who need that help a lot right now. We have our John Hayes, who is east of Andover Road, and he, we believe, is in a neighborhood where a number of homes have been affected by this. John, what are you seeing and hearing from the people there?
David, it's pretty dark out here, but as you mentioned, a lot of people are going to need help. Now, as we've been out here in this neighborhood just east of Andover Road, South Andover Road, and south of Kellogg, we've seen lots of damage throughout this particular neighborhood. Now, it's pitch black out here. The power is out, but you should still be able to see some of that debris off in the distance, absolutely pinning cars. We've seen cars flipped over, tree limbs snapped off of branches, roofs ripped off of homes. Tons and tons of damage. Hopefully, we're hoping that no one was seriously hurt in all of this, but we've seen neighbors running through the neighborhoods, checking on each other, making sure that everything is okay, checking on their neighbors. We've also run into people that are combing through the pieces of what's left right now, and we do want to talk to one group. We talked to them a little bit earlier off camera, but they were actually inside of their home here behind me when everything went down, so I want to bring them in and kind of share their perspective.
We're getting ready to head to the Y, and got the warning on her phone actually, so we turned around, head back to the house. Saw some people pointing over to the storm. Saw the tornado. Went inside, got in the basement immediately. I mean, we were sitting down there for what, 10 minutes, and then it just started tearing our house apart while we were down there. The pressure in your ears was horrible.
So your ears were just ringing?
Yeah, it felt like you were, pretty deep underwater.
So how long have you guys been here in this home?
A year now?
About a year and a half, yeah.
We were renting it from some people, but it's...
Well,
it's
I can tell you
now.
our address was 723. Now I think it's more 720 to about 730-ish. But we're trying to, keep at least somewhat good attitude about it. Thankfully, looks like most of our cats and stuff made it. Actually, we're finding a surprising amount of our stuff's okay, too.
Yeah.
We're just happy nobody in the neighborhood was seriously hurt. At least around here, we heard about what happened at the Y, and, our prayers go out to the families of those people. But we're just happy that right now, we're all okay and that as much people are safe as they are.
So what was going through your heads while you guys were bunkered down?
Well, honestly, we didn't think it was going to hit us because we had ran upstairs real quick just to see. And then we saw that it was coming towards us, so we went back down, sat in our laundry room. It's all concrete walls. Sat with the door shut, and then after probably 2 minutes of being there, the door just flung open.
Now, which one of you, I talked to some of you a little bit earlier, but which one of you was actually keeping that door closed with your foot?
I was.
That was you. What was that like?
Well, she was behind me, and I think he was behind her. So I was pressed up against her with both my feet locked on the door, trying to hold it shut as much as I could.
And you're just using all of your weight to try and keep that door closed.
I mean, my feet were locked, or my legs were locked against the door just so it couldn't move. Otherwise, there would have been even more debris in there with us.
What did that pressure feel like against your body when you're trying to keep that door closed?
It wasn't as bad as you'd expect. I mean, there was a lot of wind, but after going through a little house, and most of it was just coming down the stairs, going to the door, it wasn't bad. The worst pressure was on the ears, seeing all the dust and the glass in this air, breathing it in, and I yelled at all of them to keep their eyes closed during all that because all you could see was dust particles and glass.
And everyone did, right? They kept their eyes closed.
Yeah.
At any point, was anyone coughing? Did it feel like it was hard to catch your breath?
Yeah. Not really, as far as I'm aware. I mean,
at least for me, it was.
It went by pretty quick. I mean, the whole thing lasted 15-20 seconds probably.
Very quick.
It felt like a lot longer, but in the end, yeah.
And I imagine it always feels longer when you're in that moment, kind of.
It was
terrified.
one of the scariest moments I've been in my life.
Oh,
yeah. We saw the clouds and stuff. Didn't think it was even going to rain today, and then I never expected to actually hit our house. It's a surreal moment, actually having something go over your house, tear it apart, and then you think about your friends, your family, your cats, animals,
everything.
Yeah, everything just is going through your head during those moments.
Because you think that couldn't happen to me.
As soon as we got out of the basement, we all made sure we were okay. Mm-hmm. I went to my room to check for my cat. I think he went upstairs, checked for his cats. He went in his room, making sure we got the cats, made sure the storm was away, and then tried to get to safety again.
And all of the cats are okay?
We missing one, and one of them ran away, but we have two of them are safe out of the four. I was actually at work when this went down. He called me, and let me tell you, he told me, dude, get home, the house has been hit. So I went from work and got here as fast as I can, but that was the most terrifying experience of my life because I didn't know if anybody was hurt, what was wrong.
Yeah.
But like I said, I'm just thankful everybody's all right. For the most part, everybody here's been fantastic. They helped me out. They got me down here when I came in. I mean, if you got to look on the bright side of this kind of thing, it's brought this whole neighborhood together as people. And I've met more people today than I've met in a long time.
Met neighbors that we should have met a long time ago.
Absolutely. It's been great to have that support and stuff. And I'm just thankful everybody's okay and that the damage isn't actually worse.
So obviously it's a lot darker now, guys. It's hard for our viewers to see what's going on right there. What did you guys initially notice was damaged or gone as soon as you stepped outside?
The roof
was gone.
Just ripped off.
Yeah.
it was weird because we're in this dark laundry room, and it's still bright
Step
out.
up the camera.
Yeah. It's still dark in this laundry room downstairs. All the lights are out, and after we're done checking ourselves, making sure we're okay, going from that dark basement and rising up just to see a bright like span of nothing and just rubble and broken things everywhere. It's very frightening, and it is truly a once-in-a-lifetime moment, thankfully.
God willing, a once-in-a-lifetime moment.
Yeah. Most of the basement's okay, like the glass windows are gone, but the only thing we had an issue with was right above the laundry room up in the corner is actually part of the house panels got ripped off because that's where the garage was. So we could see outside immediately when it took it off. And that was scary.
And that was in a span of a couple of seconds?
Yeah, as soon as we heard, like, you know, the rest of the house being taken apart, and then we saw that part fly, it was just crazy being able to see outside, see all the stuff in the tornado.
All of the debris.
Yeah, there was a lot. It was crazy.
What's going through your head in that moment?
That moment, just making sure everybody's okay, making sure the door stays shut, trying to keep it shut until it's over, and we can all get up and make sure all of us are okay.
Now, obviously, you mentioned that all of you, for the most part, had your eyes closed during this experience, but were you still just kind of constantly checking in?
It was
on
hard
each other,
to keep your eyes
sure
closed and not
okay?
see and not pay attention to make sure the roof was still there. Well, the
Obviously
floor.
it's not,
but
It's gone.
Well, the
gone.
roof above us in the
Oh, yeah.
basement, the floor was still there. To make sure nothing was going to fall on anybody. Yeah, mostly the basement's untouched. I mean,
It's just flooded.
yeah,
It's
it's
flooded,
currently
yeah.
flooded. But I mean, I've called, you know, just about everybody I can, let them know that we're all okay.
The outreach has been incredible, absolutely.
Yeah, I've had my work bosses call me.
Yeah.
Make sure I'm okay.
Work's checking up on us, grandparents, people I haven't talked to in years calling us. It's been fantastic. It's been really nice to have people around for us.
That's awesome. Obviously, you weren't here initially when everything went down.
No.
Walk me through, guys, after you decided to finally come out and look at things. What was that moment like? Was that surreal for you?
Once we came out, we left the laundry room, turned right, and right there's the stairs to go upstairs. So, like, we see just the stairs covered in dust and dirt and debris. Get upstairs. I think our first thing was to get outside.
Yeah,
to see, well, obviously once it was safe, but we'd, get outside, see where the tornado's at, make sure it's that way, away from us, see, the neighbors, try and see if anybody's hurt badly. That, and then after that, we go back inside and make sure we have everything. Not too long after he got here, we all had to sit in his car for half an hour, 45 minutes because it was hailing again. So that kind of put a halt to our progress of finding cats. And
It was a long 45 minutes.
It was.
With the half-inch hail hitting, and we need to get back in there to help, and it's just we can't hear anything. I'm just happy that my car's all right. Obviously some of these are okay, some of them aren't, but we had a dry place to go when some of the more bad weather hit. And so when I was coming up, I'd never run so hard in my life because they made me park my car down there, and I saw, I think, him and James here sitting on the tailgate, and I just ran up and I gave him the biggest hug I ever gave anyone in my life. I was so happy to see him.
Well, we are really glad that you all are okay. And again, we are in Andover tonight in a neighborhood just east of South Andover Road and just south of Kellogg as well. Obviously, a lot of people tonight are picking up the pieces here, and we will keep you updated throughout the night. I'm reporting live from Andover. John Hayes, Kake News on your side.
Hey, John, just one more minute. How many homes did you think that you saw that were damaged in that neighborhood there?
Yeah, David. So aside from this group of people that we just spoke with right now, we drove past another home that you should be, I'm going to walk with Easton here. Another home, you can see debris on top of this car right here. Roof of that home also ripped off. And just around the corner, it's really hard to see from where we're at, but there's at least another home that's damaged right here. A car completely flipped over on its side. We talked to a man off camera that lived right across the street. He said that his truck was blown across the street. Significant damage suffered to that truck as well. And we noticed a couple of homes on the corner as well, at least two homes that also sustained some damage as well. One of those neighbors did not want us to show his home, but he mentioned that everyone was okay inside. They're just obviously really emotional right now, David, trying to sort through what is left here.
All right, well, and once again, no injuries there. We haven't heard of any injuries, not, let alone deaths, God forbid, but not even injuries in this. Everybody looked to be very prepared, and did what they needed to do to stay safe. Thanks, John Hayes, tonight reporting for us from east of South Andover Road and just a little bit south of 400. We do want to let you know that St. Vincent de Paul is reaching out and making a place for people to stay if they need such a place, like those people who we just talked to right there. That location is 123 North Andover Road. That's at St. Vincent de Paul Catholic Church. And you're being told to please avoid that Andover area because there's just so much damage and emergency crews are needing to do their work. Let's go now back to Deb Ferris, who's at the Sunstone Apartments, which also had some damage. Deb, what are you seeing and hearing?
A couple of residents who live here in this apartment building, and they watched this tornado actually hit. So I'm just going to have you guys describe what happened. Well, we were told to evacuate, so we were leaving, and when we were leaving the house and walking the door, it was really windy, and we went into my husband's van, and as we closed the door to the van, it was actually right through the door when we were here, I watched my car that was right next to it just get smashed.
Okay, obviously we're having some audio problems. We'll get those figured out. And we want to go to our Eli Higgins, who is also in the Andover area. And he has a report now on what he was seeing tonight.
We're about a quarter-mile west of Andover Road on Harry Street. And we're getting our first look with one of the residents here, Ken. Ken, tell me first, take me back when it started. What was it like?
I heard the sirens go off and I started seeing stuff in the air circling north of the house, and I went in the house, and it wasn't 3 minutes and stuff was circling the house. It knocked over a safe, picked up a dishwasher, a lot of heavy stuff.
You said it was pretty loud too, right?
Really
Describe
loud,
the sound.
just a deafening roar like a train.
What was going through your mind right in that moment?
Holy crap. Not again, not Andover, but yeah, we missed the last one, but we got this one. Yeah.
So we're taking it, show us some of the damage we have here so far. Kind of just describe to me what you're seeing. Brendan, if we can show some of this. This is a tree looks like was damaged pretty good, huh?
Yeah, big maple tree, it's gone.
What's the worst of the damage? I know it's dark, it's hard to see anything, but so far, what has surprised you the most?
Mainly the trees and that one big one over there, the one that's got pulled out. But it kind of shows it was between us because stuff over there was going that way and stuff over here was going that way. I don't know.
And you mentioned there's like a 40-foot tree over there, right? Just totally on its side.
Yeah, 40-year-old tree. A box elder tree pulled up by the roots. It pulled the hood off of a couple of vehicles, folded back over the windows. Trunk lid on the Mazda, folded it over.
Did you have a basement or anything, proper shelter?
No.
That had to be scary too.
Yeah, I felt the house shake. So it was scary.
All right, well, we appreciate it, Ken. We'll send it back to you guys.
Thanks, Eli. And Eli was pretty much in the same area that John was just a little bit before that with all those people who had damage to their homes. Eli was in the area of Andover, a little west of Andover Road and along Harry. We want to now send it back to Deb. We've figured out the audio problems. And Deb, what do you have for us?
Sunstone Apartment Complex, which is near the Dillons at Andover Road and Kellogg. And we're with some residents here who actually watched this tornado come right over their apartments. I know you were describing, tell me what happened. So we were leaving our apartment because we were told to evacuate, and we were...
Okay, we're still working on those audio problems. Hopefully the third time will be the charm. Let's send it back to Jay. Jay.
Updated on what's going on in terms of the severe thunderstorm. We just have severe thunderstorm warnings. We haven't had tornado warnings in a while. So for parts of Greenwood County, this is eastern Greenwood County until 11 o'clock. Then we slide into southern Greenwood County, into Cowley and Elk and Greenwood counties. That's until 11:30. And then a severe thunderstorm warning for Cowley and Sumner County until 11:15. Wind gust in excess of 60 is what we're looking at. The leading edge, we're just going to keep an eye on the leading edge to make sure we don't get any spin-ups. Remember, it was the independent cells out ahead of the line that we were most concerned about any kind of significant rotation. Now we're going to go over to the velocity. I'm going to work the line from the south down to the north. So we're going to put it in motion over the past 30 minutes. And there you see the potential for some, honestly, this is wind gust probably 50 to 60, not really seeing 60 plus. Once you get into the orange, that's probably a little closer to 60. And so the Weather Service going to be extending some of those warnings out ahead of the line. But at this point, not seeing anything in terms of rotation that I'm going to be scared about. Near Moline, I'll see if that lasts more than a sweep or two. That may be a little weak area of circulation that's going to cross K99 between Howard and Moline and then head over towards Elk Falls. So as that continues Moline to Elk Falls, that's going to get over to the QSR Ranch. We'll keep an eye on that for you. And then as we continue sliding up that line here, it's just nothing but rain and wind as it moves through Greenwood County, already along and east of K99 from Tonopah over towards Neal and Quincy. I'm going to kind of reset the scene for you with this line of thunderstorms. And once this moves through, we're going to be done with it. This is the cold front itself. And once we get behind the cold front, the wind's out of the northwest, and we're going to be done with that severe weather threat. Let's go over to Frank. Frank?
Yeah, we do have some photos for you. We've been talking about how high base this is. So we talk about the stretch there kind of from the cloud base down to the ground. Look at this. This one here comes in from Nancy. This is that tornado. This was on Rock Road, and this was at about Derby. So you can see how far away it was. And again, I mentioned I could see it from the Sedgwick County Zoo right over the new water treatment plant. Some additional photos coming in of this. Meredith Helton, as I was scanning through, said this is right about the same time that it was hitting the Y. We saw that incredible video from Eric as well about that time. Amber showing us what it looked like before we ever got anything to the ground in this storm. I mean, it just all kinds of imagery in it. And there's one more for you. This is from downtown Wichita. So you're kind of looking over College Hill. Look at how high it is, and that's one of the reasons it is so visible. One of the folks capturing this, this one here is one more photo. This is one of the few photos we've actually had of a neighborhood damage there, but you can see a tremendous amount of it. Still trying to locate exactly where that is, but Deb Futhi sent that one in. Here's an imagery for you. How about some videos coming in? This is from meteorologist Kat Taylor's parents as they were watching. This was Pawnee and 127th Street in Wichita. A couple of videos on her Facebook page and letting us know that this was happening. But what a scary sight. Her parents know as well as anybody the damage that these tornadoes can do. But we thank Kat Taylor for sharing those videos as well, and glad to hear that her parents are safe. But I tell you what, Jay, this is one of the most photogenic tornadoes we've seen in a very, very long time. The number of photos and reports, whether it's hail, wind, or just the numerous tornado reports, hundreds of them on Facebook.
And just a reminder, if we go back to 1991 with the Hayesville McConnell Air Force Andover tornado, that was when home video cameras were just starting to become the rage. And so at that time, that was one of the most photographed, one of the most video tornadoes. Now we've evolved into the social media age, and everybody, thanks to a device, is walking around with a camera or a video recorder. So this is going to, in terms of the video we're going to get, let's face it, this is just starting to flow in, Frank, because there's a lot of people in the impacted area that still don't have power and probably a very limited cell service. Over the next couple of days, I can only imagine the flood of damage video that's going to be coming in, to the tornado video, especially like you were saying, it was a very photogenic storm. It had very high bases. A lot of times, if you have a lot of deep moisture, the cloud base is just very close to the ground. And for the larger, violent wedge tornadoes, sometimes you have a curtain of rain surrounding it that you can't really see it. But this was a cone tornado, a very photogenic tornado, but also a strong, we don't know the rating, strong to violent tornado just based on some of the damage we've seen here. Obviously, the National Weather Service in Wichita will start the surveys tomorrow, and we'll get some more information on that. So it's just severe thunderstorm warnings. I know I hate saying just severe thunderstorm warnings because there still is the potential for some wind damage all along the leading edge of this line of thunderstorms as it moves through southern Greenwood, through Elk County. It's about to enter Chautauqua County, so I can imagine a new severe thunderstorm warning. There you go. As we speak, The Weather Service in Wichita issues a brand new severe thunderstorm warning capturing the whole southern line of the storm from Chautauqua, Cowley, Elk, and Sumner County until midnight. And that is going to move right on through. So by midnight, we're probably going to have this storm out of the entirety of Kake land, and we'll just be dealing with winds out of the northwest. And that reminds me, at some point, Frank, why don't you put an updated just tornado watch map out? We'll show people how the watches are being canceled as the storms are moving through the counties at this point. Looks like you've already got it. So let's go back over to Frank.
All right, so that tornado watch has been canceled now, replaced with a severe thunderstorm watch here, and that's going to be for Sumner County, Cowley County, Greenwood, Elk, and Chautauqua. So those are the counties. So ignore the tornado watch here. That has not been updated yet. But the complete tornado watch that we had, that once very large tornado watch, that has been downgraded. And again, we're going to see this tornado watch. Forgive me, the time on it, I'm not exactly sure, but it looks like we're probably going to go through about midnight, and then they'll start trimming this off as well. Even counties like Sumner County, that's going to be dropped rapidly. Let's see if we can get a time on here real quick. All right, so now technically it goes until 6 a.m., so oftentimes on these watches they put a fairly long time on it because it will go all the way through. But what we will likely see here is the National Weather Service beginning to trim some of those counties off, likely starting first with Sumner County, and as the storms clear, Butler and Cowley County, we'll see those dropped off as well. So good news tonight that tornado watch has been allowed to expire.
Okay, now I know we were working on the audio fix with Deb. Do we want to go back to that? If not, I still got Eric Duncan here. We can go back to him, and we can go back through his video if we want. So we're still working on Deb. Let me go back over to David Scott. David?
Thanks, Jay. Yeah, we told you a little while ago about how Sedgwick County is now reaching out to help the folks in Andover, and the mayor has told us that the Sedgwick County Emergency Operations Center has been activated. All Wichita Police Command have been directed to help with emergency management, and we also have a statement that has now been sent to us from the mayor, and here it is. We just got off the phone with Wichita City Manager Layton. He informed me that the Wichita Fire Department, Chief Snow, is leading the city post at the Emergency Operations Center. About 50 to 100 structures are damaged. We're assuming this is in Butler County in the Andover area, not in Sedgwick. Layton reached out to Andover City Manager to offer help in the coming days. Now, we don't know just how seriously each of these structures have been damaged. We've shown you tonight a number of homes that had their roofs ripped off, which, looking at that power of this funnel cloud that just ripped through Andover, it's amazing that the roofs being ripped off is all that those people suffered. But here we have the mayor now saying that there is a lot of damage out there, and Sedgwick County is going to commit everything it can to helping its neighbors over in Butler County. Now we want to send it to Jay. Jay?
I tell you what, while we're here, let's go back to Eric. You got your microphone turned back on there?
I do.
Okay, so let's go back through this again, and we're going to go ahead. I know you can't hear the audio, but I can. Let's open up the audio, and we're going to go back through when Eric was rolling up on this. His video starts when he's on. Here you are, on Kellogg.
Oh my God.
That's Yorktown Parkway. The tornado is hitting the Y as we speak.
Yep, Dillon's is off to the right.
Right, now it has just crossed Kellogg, and it's now north of Kellogg, east of Yorktown Parkway, heading towards Andover Central Park in that vicinity.
That is correct. Heading northeast.
And you see the debris, the white debris, that's roofing debris from the Y that we're seeing lofted there. And also, as you drove through the damaged part later, there's structure that it's going through currently too.
Yeah, right now it's still going through structures. Most of the structures it went through, honestly, was when it was south of Kellogg, and then once it crossed Kellogg near Yorktown Parkway. Right now it's still cruising north, it's hitting structures. Now I will say this, a few miles northeast of that location, probably 3 to 4 miles northeast of that location, it did hit a couple houses out in the country. So those aren't the only structures that were hit as far as in Andover proper itself, unfortunately.
And at this point, okay, you went ahead, you stopped. The tornado is continuing on north, and you're going to start heading back east on Kellogg, and you're going to go back through the damage path, and we'll get a look at it. Now, it's heading almost due north at this point. Again, it started out east of Yorktown Parkway, but the radar data, just looking aloft, had it skewed a little farther to the west. I was thinking it'd be more of an impact on Andover Central Middle School and Andover Central High, but apparently it's, it's east of those locations. We have not heard if there's been any impact to any of the structures at Andover Central Park. There's the library there, the police station, City Hall was all relocated along Andover Central Park, and we still hear the very strong wind and inflow into the storm at this point. So how long were you hearing the inflow into the storm?
That inflow was really pulling into that tornado for probably about, depending on your location, honestly, but from the time I got on Kellogg, from the time I got off 96 onto Kellogg till probably about 4.5 minutes later, it was pulling hard. I think its peak intensity, honestly, was right when it was crossing Kellogg and probably for another mile or so. But once it got across 35 and Kellogg, it started to weaken in intensity.
And at this point, it's hard to tell, but it's probably not quite to the Kansas Turnpike. It was moving almost due from the south to the north at this point. Very likely, just based on radar data, we think it probably that circulation was starting somewhere near Harry and just between 159th and Butler Road. And then it really started to develop and made a quick hook directly to the north. And this is when it intensified, and that's when Eric's video started, is right as it's just south of Kellogg, east of Yorktown Road. It's coming right up by the YMCA there, which we know has been heavily damaged, and then continues heading up across the street. And as far as we saw the damage path on the north side of Kellogg, but beyond that, what has happened on the east side of Andover, we're still kind of having to wrap our arms around, our head around, as far as how much damage was done there. Because clearly, I mean, that's still kicking up debris at that point. And were you able, even though that your video is about to run out here, were you able to see it until it dissipated, or how long were you able to see it from Kellogg?
Yeah, Jay, so I was on Kellogg for quite some time, but I went north of there and kind of out in the country a little ways, north of 35, went over 35, and that tornado roped out probably, I want to say, 4 miles northeast of Yorktown Parkway and Kellogg. So it wasn't, I wouldn't say it was a long track tornado, but it was on the ground for more than enough time to do substantial damage, unfortunately.
All right. What about, did we get the audio thing worked out with Deb? We're going to go back to her. Where do we need to go next?
Jay, okay. I think our audio is now fixed. So we are at the Sunstone Apartments, which is at Kellogg and Andover Road. This is what we're seeing everywhere. 2x4s, nails sticking out, parts of roofs laying around. These people here all live in this apartment complex. They saw this tornado just come down almost right on top of them. Tell us what happened.
So we were leaving our apartment when the evacuation they said to leave the house, and we did. And we were locking the door. We got in the van, and just the minute the door closed, we watched my car just get destroyed by the tornado. It's basically totaled all the glass, the back, and then on this side, all the glass is gone. I just watched it get crushed by the winds. And when we were in the car, we were basically like racing against the tornado. We were trying to navigate where to go, and we tried to go to the Y, but there were 2 cars barricaded in front, so we believe the tornado just threw them there. So we were basically, you were driving, tell them.
Yeah, we were trying to run away from it. We went to the Y, it was there. We went back. Eventually, we arrived to Dillon's. There was nothing there at Dillon's, and we went to their shelter there.
But every time we would try to go away from it, it was following us.
Yeah,
we went away, we went towards the Prairie Creek School. It was following us that way. It would get fast, then it would stop, then it get slow, and it was just really, we were in a panic because we're not from here. We don't know how tornadoes act. So,
is this the first tornado you've ever seen?
Yeah.
We've been here for a year, not a little bit more than a year. Yeah, this is the first one.
Last year was the earthquakes.
Yeah,
this year is the tornadoes.
Last year.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect. You may not want to live in Kansas much longer.
We're thinking about that. No,
oh yes. I guess your reaction to seeing all of this.
At the moment, you don't think. I don't know where do you get the strength from. Like we were just focused on just trying to leave away from the danger. The aftermath, yeah, you think about how, but it's freaky for sure. It was so freaky.
He was driving the van, and a piece of wood hit his windshield, and it cracked it.
Yeah.
And I had me and our 5-year-old daughter down in the van in case a piece of wood hit through the windshield.
So yeah, we were driving in the middle, kind of in the middle of it, trying to find a way where can we go, and we kind of got stuck a little bit, but we eventually just thank God we went a different direction.
Oh my gosh, and Rob, you live here as well. Kind of describe your experience.
Well, I was on a work Zoom and had my earbuds in and had just ended the call to switch over to another Zoom when I heard the siren going off. So I ran outside, and it was literally coming over the garages right here where these guys are at. So I was watching it from the other side where they were, and I was closer to my car, and so I just jumped in my car and ran, and literally stayed right in front of the cloud, which apparently these guys were inside of, and I stayed right around in front of it and got right with where the tornado chasers were, and then just watched it barrel right over the top of the apartment toward the Y, and just very fortunate that I got out of the way is the best I can say.
And I know, Rob, you had told me that really there are no shelters here at the apartment.
Well, when you first move here, the first thing they tell you is if there's a tornado, go to the Y. And of course, they tried that, and it was obviously a horrible failure. And anyhow, just wasn't an option because, like, even with these buildings being wood, knowing what happened here in '91, going back inside when I saw roofs being ripped off, I didn't think that was an option. And I thought, flee. Even they say don't run, I felt that was the best option for me.
Yeah, and you try to go to the Y, and that took a direct hit. That's scary. I don't know, Cam, how close you can get. Do you guys mind just so we can show the car here? So she described the tornado dropping down and destroying this car. You can see all the windows are smashed out. This is one of the 2x4s that is here. You can see. Look at this. This is crazy. I don't know how much you can see, Cam. We're tethered to the car with the camera because of battery issues. But, I mean, there are pieces of wood just jammed down inside this car. That is the power of these tornadoes. Yeah, show us that. This is a ceiling fan. And we have no idea. Do you know where it came from?
Nope, we're trying.
One of the apartments here, most likely, but who knows?
A lot of things were flying around like crazy.
The crazy thing was, when we were getting into the van, it was like windy outside, but it was like eerie quiet. It was too quiet, and it was just like, that's like the heart of the tornado coming at you. Yeah.
Yeah, and people have described, and I don't live too far from here, a couple miles north, and we could hear it. Could you guys hear the roar?
No, we couldn't hear it, and actually our friends here told us that the tornado had come here, and we thought we had more time to go to the Y, and it was like almost at our doorstep, and we're like, oh. So we had to make a split-second decision. Do we go back inside, or do we book it for the car and try to get somewhere? So yeah.
And Rob, you mentioned roof damage.
Yeah.
Can you see? It's so dark now, but describe what you saw.
As they kind of were able to see when the sun set, but there are 2x4s impelling the roof. There's plywood everywhere, and so you really can't tell whether is that our damage or is that stuff that just fell on top of us. But as you can see, it's just everywhere. I mean, like this house truss is underneath our feet, and but there's obviously more damage behind us than the housing complex, because like I said, when I came outside, I saw those houses actually being ripped up in the air. And that was my warning call to run. So
yeah, I mean, this just tells the whole story. I mean, this is part of a ceiling fan from inside someone's either apartment or a house. So these apartments, like I mentioned, are near the Dillons at Kellogg and Andover Road. So if you can picture, so the Dillons is there, then these apartments, and then the Y, which took a direct hit. If we can pull up that video of the video I got of the Y right after the tornado hit. Do we have that, Ellen? Okay, it's up. So this is video I took right after the tornado hit the Y. You can see, I'm not sure exactly what you're seeing, but I'll just describe. So there were cars that literally were blown from the parking lot, flipped over, and then thrown into the front of the Y. So the whole front of the Y is destroyed. You can see, ceiling dripping, water coming down, cars inside the Andover YMCA. There were people inside working out at the time. They all went down to the locker room to take cover, and then they heard what they said was like a large explosion and then debris just falling and dust everywhere, and luckily no one was injured. Unbelievably, really, when you think about it. And so a lot of police and ambulance were over there checking that out when I was over there. And then they realized no one's hurt here. And then we start tracking, as Jay was saying, tracking that storm backwards. And it came from kind of the southwest and moved northeast. And so the trail of damage, I'm sure, is long, because I watched that tornado live and it was there forever. It was like 20, 30 minutes, it felt like. Yeah, it just seemed unreal. And so I'm sure there's a huge path of damage. But I did talk to Andover police, several of them tonight, and all of them say, hey, we are so blessed because no one was injured tonight. So that's the good news out of all of this. And as we know with other tornadoes, the whole community is going to come together, and they will help pick up the pieces and get everybody back together. Now, Ellen, I want you to run, if you can, that video from Gage Harth. He gave us this video. He lives in Crescent Lakes, which is at Central and Andover Road. And he watched that tornado. He said it circled his house right there. And this is that video. If you can see it there, it's insane. He said he looked up and it was right over the house, and then it just circled his house, kind of made a U, and then just went further north. But he said you could see the debris, and I'm sure you can see it on the video. We saw it earlier. He gave it to us. And he said it was just so surreal to see that happen. And he described how loud it was. So that was incredible video. And I know we've been talking about all the video that's out there because everybody has a cell phone now. But this is just crazy. And like I mentioned, I'm sure we're going to see a lot more damage once the sun comes up in the morning. But we are so thankful you all are okay. And thank you so much for being with us tonight and being patient with the audio issues. We got that all figured out. So, David, I'm going to send it back to you guys.
It's just so amazing to look at that video and to know that it actually circled someone's home and then went away. How terrifying that must be to just see that it coming on you and then just to see it go away. It's just one of the many incredible things that happened tonight when you consider the fact that the mayor is telling us, Mayor Whipple is saying that as many as 100 structures were damaged in Andover. We don't know the extent of each of those, but the fact that no one has been hurt is just absolutely amazing. One of the structures that was hurt was a school, Prairie Creek Elementary School, and we have not just our news people, but our sports people on the job tonight. Chris Lilly, our sports director, has been looking at the damage there. Chris, what are you seeing?
Yes, yeah, we, like you said, at Prairie Creek Elementary here in Andover, and this is the cafeteria. They had a glass wall or door here completely blown out. It's sitting there on the ground, as you can see, with some other debris. We're going to come back, kind of look here in the cafeteria. We have all the tables kind of pushed aside, doors open, and then in the back, one of the heavy doors is bent. The quarter top of that is bent, and then kind of take a step out here. And you can kind of see the damage. There's glass everywhere, all over the floors and the grass. Windows are blown out all over the place. And like I said, this is the cafeteria over at Prairie Creek Elementary. We were driving around Andover just kind of looking at places. We drove by Andover Central, drove around that parking lot, and really didn't see too much of anything, which is good news, or at least that we could see. And then we were driving over here, and we noticed the wall was missing at Prairie Creek Elementary, so we got out here and kind of looked, and we're going here towards the entrance of the elementary school, the office, more glass, and you have kind of concrete from the walls laying on the ground. And then this looks like the main entrance here. Just so you can see there's water and stuff all the way through this main hallway entrance. And we were here earlier kind of getting some video of this entrance, and pieces of the ceiling tile were falling down. So something we're not going to go back in there. But yeah, this is the most significant damage that we've seen so far as we've been driving around Andover. Yeah, it's kind of what we've seen so far. here at Prairie Creek Elementary, the cafeteria, the wall blown out onto the grass, and no one here around us. And people have come by to see, check it out, and then they go on their way. But yeah, for now, that's all we've seen. Reporting live from Andover, Chris Lee, Kake News, on your side.
All right, some serious damage right there. Prairie Creek Elementary School. Thanks, Chris Lilly. And the damage apparently has not been confined to just Andover. Wichita as well. Our Hannah King has been out taking a look at the damage around the Wichita area. What are you seeing here?
Yeah, that's right, David. I normally don't wear this in studio, so this is a little bit of a different situation. But yeah, I just got back to the studio where I went to an apartment complex on Harry and Woodlawn in East Wichita, and we rolled up. You know, we had heard there might be some kind of damage there, so we went to check it out. But of course, it's dark. We don't see anything, so we keep driving. We keep driving, and we do see damage from a roof. I don't know if we have that video that we could show right now, but we could. Yep, here we go. So here's some video at this apartment complex, and again, this is near Harry and Woodlawn. Take a look at this. We spoke to a neighbor. That's their like little porch area that their grill was. That's a piece of a roof actually that came from a building next to that building, and we talked to a resident who said that that roof had actually fallen off and hit her second floor apartment. But yeah, we spoke to those residents right there, them waving right there. They're safe, their children are safe, everything was fine. But yeah, pretty bad damage. We don't know, what this damage was connected to. Clearly a storm, clearly something rolled through town, but we don't know, if this has anything to do with the Andover tornado or not, or how this kind of came to be. That is what neighbors told me was a roof.
Maybe we can bring Jay in on this. Jay, this is damage in the Harry and Woodlawn area.
Yes.
Some windows there at an apartment complex. Would this have been the same twister that hit Andover, or is this just heavy winds?
Harry and Woodlawn South, honestly, that could be where this was starting to kind of to gin up. I'm going back here. Now, do we know what time this was? Did the resident have to give you a time?
Yes, she said this happened around 9:30, and that's when she called 911.
Okay, this is probably straight line wind damage from the thunderstorm line that came through after the tornado. The tornado would have spun up somewhere between about 8 and 8:20. So the fact that this happened after 9:30, could have this been one of those small leading edge tornadoes that we were warning about? Yes, but it's also very possible that this was just damaging wind gusts along the line of thunderstorms that was making its way through Wichita, and that's why we were continuing severe thunderstorm warning. So the fact that this occurred after 9 o'clock, it is not the same storm that generated the tornado that very likely spun up east of McConnell Air Force Base and then went through Andover and dissipated north of the Turnpike. So same day, but two different storms, probably two different phenomena.
And Jay, she mentioned something to me. What she said was the fire department told her this was a microburst, and I'd never heard that before, but she said the fire department said this can be as bad as a tornado, but nothing touched the ground. What do you say about that?
Yeah, well, okay, microburst would basically, think of a microburst as a severe thunderstorm that's producing damaging winds. It's like taking a glass of water and pouring it on the table. The water hits the ground, spreads out everywhere. In this case, it would be a downburst of wind, basically wind that is cooler than the environment. It's dropping straight down, it hits the ground, and it spreads out. And since the storm's moving, it's going to hit the ground and spread out in the direction the storm's moving and cause wind damage. So yes, could this have been straight line wind damage from a microburst? That's very plausible. Yeah, I mean, I got to admit, we're all multitasking here. And while you're doing that, I was kind of trying to repeat the radar. I'm going back to 8:03 at the radar. I'm kind of trying to figure out where this tornado first started to spin up to see if this would be near Woodlawn. So now that you gave me that timeline, it's definitely not associated with the tornado that happened earlier today. So it was either damaging straight line winds on the front line of the thunderstorm, could have been a microburst, or it could have even been a weaker leading edge, what we call a QLCS tornado. Until we get the daylight out there, obviously the National Weather Service at Wichita is going to focus on the survey damage in Andover and with that storm track first, but then they'll probably go back and look at this to get that determination. So just based on your video, sorry, but I just can't be conclusive on that.
Thank you, Jay, and thank you for that. I was asking her kind of like what those conditions, look like. she said it was around 9:30, getting ready for bed. The kids were, she said her child was near the door, so she was just really worried about, the wind. She said the wind started picking up. But what she mentioned was everything was calm 1 minute, and then all of a sudden everything's just started flying. Glass shattered. She talked about part of the roof of a a building beside in the same apartment complex, it just started flying off, and that has nails in it. I was trying to pick it up to kind of show the camera, and it had nails in it, and that just hit her second floor building. So things were just flying all over the place. The building that had the roof kind of, messed up on top and flying away, she said the power was cut off to that building. And we saw in that video residents just kind of, moving their stuff along, maybe going to their car, that kind of thing. So it was definitely, an eerie situation. Power was out to a building, people were running around, kids were screaming, that kind of thing. Definitely
just very scary. Incredible power, not even if it was a twister like we had in Andover, just these perhaps straight line winds, just so much power out there, so much damage, and again, it's just amazing that people have not been injured in this. Obviously, people have been left homeless. The people in that area, I would suppose most of these people, or a lot of the people you talk to, aren't going to be able to stay in those places until they get fixed.
Right. Some of those, power was shut off. We saw people carrying pillows and suitcases to their vehicles, that kind of thing. But, and we talked to some, resident that we talked to, we could hear him talking to other people like, hey, do you have somewhere to stay? Do you have somewhere to stay? So you could just tell there was a community aspect coming together out there in East Wichita. It was just definitely a very scary situation. We didn't know what we were walking on. Lights were out. It's dark outside. Yep. But we did see, nails and roof, shingles just everywhere. You saw that person's little porch area just flattened, It was pretty bad out there.
Lots of damage, lots of cleanup to be starting to do as the weekend begins. And it's great how people are coming together and reaching out to their neighbors and offering them a place to stay. But officially, we have not heard of any places in Sedgwick County. However, although there very well may be, and we hope to have some of those tomorrow, because you know that there are going to be places reaching out to people and offering that. But the only place we've actually heard of tonight is St. Vincent de Paul Catholic Church, and that's in Andover. It's 123 North Andover Road. They are opening their arms, opening their doors to anyone who needs a place to stay. And there are many of them out there. Obviously, many people have neighbors, friends who they're going to be able to stay with. But if you don't, and a lot of these people who will need this can't hear us right now because they don't have power. So if you know of someone in this situation and they just have nowhere else to turn, this is where they can go tonight. St. Vincent de Paul Catholic Church, 123 North Andover Road. And we'll send it to Jay.
All right, thanks a lot. I've been kind of doing a little forensic meteorology here. I'm going back to 8/11 to see if we can try to figure out the genesis of this storm. There's not a lot of reflectivity data to look at because you remember how high the base is? Look at this. You're not seeing any reflectivity on the Doppler radar. Why? Because the base was so high up off the ground. So what I'm using is some of the raw velocity products here. And this is Greenwich. Here we are. This is southeast Wichita. There's Greenwich. There's South 47th. There is Pawnee. And right here, we're starting to see things gin up. There's Southwest Butler Road. So the county line is here, and then Southwest Butler Road is here. So this is 159th. And as we go forward in time at this point, so there we go. So here we are at 812. Now we're going to jog forward a little bit, and this is where the circulation really starts to take off, here at 816. Let me kind of recenter the image for you. And now that this is approaching kind of Flint Hills, and there's Butler Road there. So it's kind of just starting to get organized at this point at 816. We'll go forward in time to about 820. And as soon as we go 820, I'm going to pan up to the north, and this is where we start to get circulation really taken off here. And very quickly, this one's kind of hard to track, but this is where it was starting to cross Kellogg at this point, and we were starting to get some damage. So as we continued to watch that, as it moved and hooked over towards the north. So this has been one we're going to have to kind of piece together and keep an eye on. So let's get you back to real time here. Let's go over the past 30 minutes. And then we're going to go forward in time. There we go. Let me get this looping for you and go to the reflectivity and just reset the scene. Okay, there we go. Luckily, the severe weather threat is on the edge of Kake Land at this point and is going to be moving out. We still have severe thunderstorm warnings in effect for parts of southern Elk County down into Chautauqua County and into Cowley County at this point. So everything continues to move on off to the east. Well, there you go, hand up. You know what? Let me back out here. For some reason, hand tracking is getting wonky here late in the game. So let me zoom back in. We'll kind of try to pan around on this a little bit, and obviously we can't. So let's go back in here. I'm going to reset the zoom, and we'll just manually do some of these. Severe thunderstorm warning in effect for parts of Elk County and Chautauqua County. That's with the yellow box here. That's until midnight tonight, and once that moves through, we're going to be done with the severe threat. So we're going to be, as soon as this line of thunderstorm gets out of here, we're done with the severe threat. Let me go back over to the velocity mode of the radar using Wichita at this point, and still on the backside there could be some wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour, and that's why the National Weather Service is going to continue with the severe thunderstorm warnings until that back edge gets completely out. Not seeing any rotation on the front edge here, so things are looking good. And also, as soon as this line is done, we're finished with the tornado threat for the rest of the night tonight. So we're on the downhill slide of this. There could still be some isolated wind damage with this, but we're not really concerned about a tornado threat, and we'll keep an eye on the leading edge here. David?
All right, thanks, Dave. We want to send it back to our Deb Ferris, who's been live all night tonight in Andover. And she is once again at an apartment complex that was right near the Y that was so badly damaged. Deb.
Yeah, David, we're at Sunstone Apartment Complex, which is right off Kellogg and Andover Road. We're here with Dylan, and Dylan and his wife and baby took cover at the shelter at Andover Central Park, right?
Yes.
Okay, so Dylan is going to show us some video and describe what they saw as they were there at the shelter.
Yeah, so
Turn it to the camera. There you go.
So basically, we just saw it coming to us from the south. Not really sure the distance, but it was getting pretty close there. And then my wife made me get back into the shelter, as you can see. And then shortly after it passed, you can kind of see the destruction in the park, and then that menacing looking tornado right there.
That had
gone past, like right past us. And it was loud. You can see a little bit of the park, just that side is just really torn up and all over. A lot of debris, a lot of stuff. It was really loud. It was scary. It's easy to talk about it now, but in the moment, we were very scared. That's for sure.
Yeah, and this is the first time we've actually seen the damage at Andover Central, because at Central Park, I know Jay, our meteorologist, had mentioned that they thought maybe Andover Central High School got damaged, but that is right past.
Yeah, that's just to the east.
Right, so it did come through that area.
Yep.
So describe what the park looks like. Like, what did you see? Trees?
Yeah, the trees are just basically flattened. The amphitheater just to the east of that, those trees are down. They're cut in half. There's tree limbs everywhere. I think our car took a couple tree limbs, or our vehicle took a couple tree limbs, shattered our windows. But shout out to Andover for having that shelter, because we felt very safe. It was loud. We heard some things hitting it, but we felt safe the whole time.
Did you see it coming before you got to the shelter?
Yeah, so actually we live right behind here, and we were in the third level, and I looked out my back deck and saw what looked like, just kind of a cone. It wasn't a skinny tornado yet, and I just said, okay, yeah, we're gonna leave, because the third floor is not safe, anything. And so we got in our car, and we got to the intersection of Andover, or not Andover, but 54 and this road right here. And I looked back and I saw it drop, and saw the debris, everything, and went right through the intersection along with a couple other cars, and just went as fast as we could. We were calling people that we knew to say, sirens were going like crazy. and we made it in time. Got there and were able to take that video. But I mean, it was 2 or 3 minutes before it was on top of us. Yeah. So
that is
it was
scary.
scary.
And you
Yeah.
guys have a tiny one here, and he's just snoozing away. He
Yeah.
has no idea what happened.
He's gonna be close to us tonight, that's for sure.
So, Mama, what was it like for you?
I was just like, stop taking videos and get in the shelter.
I don't know why I wanted to take a video. I just, we were safe, and I was behind that building, and we were away from it and in the building by the time it was getting close. But I just felt, people need to see it. I'm sure there's a lot of people that did that, but
yeah, I did.
Yeah,
I did.
but we knew.
You're from Kansas, right?
Yeah. No, we
No?
just moved here in December.
From where?
From South Dakota.
Oh my goodness.
So
this is a first.
Yeah.
First for us.
First time I've ever seen a tornado.
Welcome
First time I've
to
seen
Kansas.
a funnel cloud or anything.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, guys. Well, I'm so glad you guys are okay.
Yeah, thank
and
you.
Dylan's going to send us the pictures from the park so we can get those on the air. You can get a better view. But thank God you guys are okay
Thank
and
you.
not a lot of damage here. Is your apartment okay?
Seems like it. We have a lot of friends. We have a lot of neighbors. We go to that Y. We've gone to it almost every day. We try, but so that's real sad. But we're obviously even more concerned about hopefully the people are okay. These houses, we saw damaged houses, and buildings are buildings. It's fine. We're fine, but hopefully they're able to help those people.
Yeah. Well, and from what we're hearing, no injuries. And if there are, they said they're very minor. So
that's good. That's
that
the
is
first we've
good.
heard, so that's good.
Well, thank you both so much
Yeah.
for being with us. Thank
you.
you all three, little sweetie.
Thank you.
All right, you guys take care. Thank you. And just one more thing to point out, guys. I know, we're talking about all the damage and people who survived it and saw it, and this is not a big deal, but the temperature has really dropped. A lot of people are out here because they don't have power, and they're out here in shorts because it was so hot today, and now it's cold. I don't know what the temperature is, but my nose is running. But yeah, so again, this apartment complex has a lot of damage. We don't think the roof wasn't torn off or anything, but there are plywood, there is 2x4s, there's a ceiling fan on the ground here that came from somewhere. So a lot of damage here, and now we know Andover Central Park took a direct hit as well. Dylan there was telling us about the trees that were down, and the amphitheater probably took some damage as well. So the good news is very minor injuries, if any, according to the police department, and right now they're just trying to assess all the damage, and I'm sure there's a large path of it. No power still in Andover, and my neighbors were just texting me saying, oh, you probably want to check your sump pump, and I didn't even think about that. So I'm sure a lot of people will probably want to check their sump pump if they have power to even be watching us. So that's the latest from here. We, of course, will continue to cover this and bring you what we know. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Deb. And if the number of power outages is any indication, it looks like almost all of the ones that are active right now in the Evergy service area are pretty much in the Sedgwick and Butler County areas and to the northeast, and pretty much Evergy covers almost everything from here to Kansas City. Very minimal between here and there, but we do have a new number from the Andover area tonight. More than 8,800 homes and businesses are without power. Sedgwick County has about 7,500 homes and businesses. Those numbers are not going down in Sedgwick County. They aren't going up, but they're not going down. Butler County has been going up quite considerably in the last hour or two. So a lot of work for so many people to be doing beginning tomorrow, and we'll obviously be covering everything that is happening out there. We'll have a much better look of what is happening and what has happened tonight when the sun rises on all this. We have an elementary school, Prairie Creek Elementary, that has its cafeteria. The wall was blown in. We had so many windows. We heard from somebody at the Y who was there at the time. About every window had been blown out. We've shown you the pictures of cars thrown from the parking lot into that building. And like Deb just said, for there not to be any serious injuries yet with all this is just absolutely incredible. We want to send it over to Jay, but we do want to let you know that we have been told that there will be a news conference updating this situation in Andover coming up at midnight, and we will be carrying that for you when it happens. Jay?
David, I was working on some equipment over here. Did Deb say that there was damage at Andover Central Park? Did I hear that correctly?
Considerable damage there.
My daughter's recital was supposed to be at Andover Central Park at the amphitheater tonight.
Oh, wow.
But I called the head of the dance studio and told him to move it to an indoor venue. So that's the reason they were not at the park. So feeling really good about making that call. Had no idea there was damage in the park tonight. It's the Cap-Fed amphitheater there where that was supposed to be. All right. Let's get you updated on what's going on with the severe threat here. We have severe thunderstorm warnings in effect until 12:45 for Chautauqua, Cowley, Elk, Montgomery, and Wilson County. As soon as we get this out of Chautauqua, Cowley, and Elk County, it's out of Kake land at that point. And as Deb was talking about, that it's getting cooler on the backside of this. Well, this is the front. Here at the Kake Studios, we've already dropped down to 61 degrees. So when we go outside, it's already going to be down to 61, and this still could contain a few wind gusts in excess of 60 miles per hour. So let me go over to the base velocity here, and we're going to start at the south end of the line, and we're going to work our way up to the north. So let me kind of zoom in. We'll put it in motion over the past 30 minutes, and then I'm going to track it for you. And I got to admit, that's probably a little de-aliasing error there, but still, running out of Cowley County into Chautauqua County, south of Cedarville, south of 166. Be prepared for the potential for a damaging wind gust. Until this line gets completely through, an isolated damaging wind gust not out of the question as it rolls towards Sedan, and then it's moving through Elk County from Elk Falls over towards the east. We go back over to the reflectivity mode of the radar at this point. And also want to reset the scene across the state of Kansas. These are just showers across northwest Kansas, but the winds are going to be pretty gusty out of the northwest back behind this system. But the only severe weather threat is now confined to basically the extreme southeast corner of Kake land. And once we get this line through here, we're going to be done with the severe threat for the rest of the night. Understand that, okay, it's right now, what time is it? About 11:45. We're waiting for a news conference at the top of the hour at midnight now. Ellen, I think we were trying to get some additional video from Eric Duncan queued up. Are y'all working on that? Okay, Eric, you were down in the newsroom. They're working on some additional video. Okay, well, you may want to call down and see if they got the additional. And while you're checking on that, can we get the Reed Timber video? Can we go ahead and show and kind of re-rack that from earlier today? Okay, great. And okay, so here's from the parking lot of Dillon's, and there's the Sunstone. I incorrectly labeled those apartments earlier. It's the Sunstone apartments that you see. And the Sunstone apartment, you got basically Dillon's Sunstone apartments, and then you got the YMCA there. And this is crossing. So this kind of syncs up with Eric's video that we've been showing you. See that the roof that is right now tearing near Prairie Creek Elementary and the Y. Prairie Creek is located just to the southwest of the YMCA. So you got Prairie Creek there, you've got the Farha complex, and then you've got the YMCA, the YMCA, and then it crosses over Kellogg. So this is the tornado. Basically, right about here is where you see Eric Duncan coming in from Kellogg. So basically, Eric and Reed were within quarter mile of each other. Now we're going to have the drone video coming up here. And here's what was shot from aloft. And there you see the tornado approaching. And it's probably pretty close to, I'm going to guess, Prairie Creek in there. And I think that's the Farha Center and the Y. And as that continues grinding across parts of Andover, I'm going to have to double check that as far as my geolocation on that. But you can see the roofs being lofted as that continues to move through, just very violently. So when the National Weather Service comes out, they're going to be investigating these structure types in order to be able to estimate them. Just look at the wind, the inflow into the backside of that tornado. Just again, size of vortex, the width of a tornado does not necessarily directly correlate with wind speed. I know we get caught up, big wedge tornado with being, the highest wind speeds, and as a general rule, that's true. But just because this was a more of a classic cone tornado with a very high base, that's why it was so photogenic, and so many people across Wichita, clearly on the west side of town, were seeing this tornado as it moves into Andover because the base was just so high off the ground, and obviously very strong to violent tornado as this continued to move. As it developed basically on, I think, just east of McConnell Air Force Base, really started spinning up there probably near 159th in Harry. Tomorrow we'll see if there's some damage anywhere between Harry or just south of Harry as that was developing, crossing Butler Road south of Kellogg and then making that turn to the north. Okay, John, is this the new video? Okay, this is Reed Timmer's video again. And this is again from the parking lot of basically the Dillons. So he's on Andover Road or Butler Road where it's out there and very close to Cloud and looking pretty much due east at this point. And then you will see where he kind of takes off towards the apartment complex. That's the Sunstone Apartments where Deb Ferris was talking to some of the residents there that was impacted by this tornado, which is just to the west of the Y. So basically you got the Sunstone Apartments, you got Yorktown, and then on the other side of Yorktown, that's where you got the YMCA that was very, very heavily damaged as that twister continues to move towards the north. And so, Eric, they're still working on your video. Hopefully, okay, because basically, and what we're going to see when it happens is when you first started intercepting it, you were what, on K96 at that point? And
correct.
Okay, so I tell you what, come on over here, and we see what's going on, and I'll tell you what. Go ahead and rack up his first video for a sec here, and then we'll go ahead and take it full, and then I'll bring Eric back on. Basically, okay, here it's going.
Oh my God.
So to kind of correlate that with Reed Timmer's video that we saw, Reed Timmer's video has already cut out for us, and so now we're on the other side of Kellogg. We're now north of Kellogg, and you can still see significant damage being done to structure at this point. Again, this is east of Yorktown Parkway. So the Heritage, which is a new subdivision that's under development, would be on the west side of Yorktown Parkway, basically off to the left of the camera, which out of the camera view at this point. Prairie Creek Elementary was also heavily damaged, and apparently this, for what we're hearing, Andover Central Park, there was heavy damage. So we do not know, as far as the police station, City Hall, the library, what damage there was, but this is very close to the time where this would be over Andover Central Park. This is where the circulation is. As we keep going through these, Eric, we're finally realizing geography, where the landmarks are coming from. And I'll tell you what, quite some impressive, looks like lightning on the other side of that storm too.
Yeah, that lightning really lit up the backside of everything and just kind of set the tone for really what was going on tonight, Jay. It was kind of an unexpected event. I mean, we all knew it was going to happen, but at the same time, to this severity was just, I don't know. It's tough to really know how violent they're going to get until they plan.
A lot of times we talk about a classic setup. We see the storm forming. We know the environment's there. We're able to get in the right position. Okay, we knew that we had an environment that if we had isolated supercells, that strong tornadoes such as this were possible. But as far as watching this storm essentially develop over Sedgwick County, it really early on gave no clue that it was going to develop into this.
Yeah, Jay, I was northwest of Andover at the time, actually northeast of Andover, looking at another storm up there by Whitewater, and I noticed that cell kind of slowly develop in the southwestern part of Sedgwick County, and it was really slow to mature and slow to get going, and honestly, I didn't really think there would be a whole lot to it, but as it progressed further south and really got an eye at the base, or what we call the UDI, the updraft, downdraft interface, is where the magic happens, is where everything starts to turn and rotate. Looking out of the local radar, out of the ICT radar, it was real kind of difficult to tell exactly how hard this thing was turning, and it kind of went from 0 to 100 really, 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 really fast. And sometimes you get indicators, but this one of those storms that you really didn't get a whole lot of indicators until it was already planted. that's weather for you.
And the way this storm is moving, I would say it's probably north of the Andover Central Park at this point.
Yeah.
I would say somewhere probably between 13th Street and 21st Street as it's making its way towards the Kansas Turnpike, which it crossed the Kansas Turnpike and then dissipated as it was approaching K254 between Towanda and Benton. I think it was still on the ground probably east of Benton before this finally started to spin down. Earlier from Stearman Field, we did get some compelling pictures. Okay, I tell you what, your other raw video is now ready, so now we're going to re-rack that. So when it starts, where were you? You're on K96. What we're about to see coming up here?
Yeah, let's go ahead and get that rolling. I can tell you. All right, so looks like right there, I just come off K96, and I'm headed down Kellogg at that exact moment. I'm looking back off to the southeast, not too far from Dillon's.
That's 159th you just crossed.
Yep. So I'm still looking south, or looking east-southeast. It hasn't crossed Kellogg yet. It's kind of in its infancy stages. I mean, earlier it had only been on the ground at that point. It had only been on the ground about 2.5 to 3 minutes. And even as you're seeing right now, it wasn't particularly intense. It didn't really get going and wrap up and
we have not gotten to Butler Road yet. You're still on Kellogg. You're eastbound. We're not quite to Butler Road at this point. And because, there's a little opening here, and then we're going to come by we're getting pretty soon to the Holiday Inn Express.
Yeah.
And I got to, there you go. There you still see a debris ball, but not a real good condensation funnel.
It's not violent. Right here, it's not a violent tornado. It's not strong. You got a little dust kicking up. You'll see some power flashes here in a second. Some sheet metal, but nothing too strong. It really was, it wasn't too impressive at that point.
Now we're crossing the Holiday Inn as you approach the intersection with Butler Road, which is Andover Road.
Yes.
And so we're coming up on the Billy Sims Barbecue on the right. And now, oh wow.
There we go.
So it's now crossed Butler Road at this point and is behind the Dillons.
Lofting debris. And it really starts picking up right here.
Okay, there's the Billy Sims Barbecue. So now you're at the intersection of Kellogg and Butler Road. That's Butler Road that you just crossed,
right
Andover Road.
Conoco.
Dillons is behind that gas station, so now you're in front of the Dillons.
Now she gets
Now we're
going.
syncing with Reed Timmer's video that we started right about this time. And there you go.
Look at that debris.
Yes, this is as it's.
My God.
Yep, this is Prairie. This is near Prairie Creek, the Farha Complex with the Y, and the YMCA, which is just south of Kellogg.
God, it's a violent tornado.
It's amazing how that really spun up after it crossed Butler Road.
It just went nuts. It went absolutely nuts. I was going to get a lot closer to it, but I was like, it's getting really intense. I probably shouldn't get too close on this one, especially with that debris.
So you are just on the east side of that intersection now.
Yeah, okay, it's fixing to, there it goes, yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, lots of debris in the air right there.
Tornado warning has just been issued for parts of Osage and Pawnee County in Oklahoma. Just verifying that next tornado warning is not within Kake land. It's in Oklahoma. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, those aren't small structures you're seeing being lofted. Those are large structures, Jay. These are well-built structures being lofted and absolutely disintegrated, as you can see right there.
And then there's a horizontal vortex. There's another horizontal vortex.
That's a strong. When you see those horizontal vortices like that, that's a really good indicator that tornado is violent. That's an intense tornado. That takes a lot of things to make a tornado produce those horizontal vortices like that.
And then this is where we picked up your video in earlier, and wow. So yeah, just as like you said, it was you had a cone. Looks like it was just basically a rope with a dusty rope there for a while before it crossed Butler Road. But after it crossed Butler Road, that's when it just very quickly intensified.
Yeah, it hit the gas. It absolutely hit the gas. It went from weak tornado to violent tornado in a matter of seconds. In an absolute matter of seconds. And like you said, I can't make this statement loud enough to any of the viewers that are watching this. Guys, the size of a tornado, I've been doing this 16 years. I've seen over 100 tornadoes. And I'm telling you right now, Jay nailed it. He absolutely nailed it. The size of a tornado has absolutely nothing to do with the intensity and magnitude of a tornado. Nothing to do with it. People think big tornadoes, they think strong tornadoes. People see small tornadoes, they think weak tornadoes. But that is far from the case.
And this is where it's continuing on north at this point, potentially over Andover Central Park or just north of Andover Central Park as it approached Central and then cross between Central and 13th on its way north. And keep in mind, with that trajectory near Andover Central Park, this put it just to the east of the Crescent Lake subdivision as it continued moving north, just east of the Vornado plant, east of the Sherwin-Williams plant.
Yes.
As this was continuing northbound in this direction. Here's where you came along the damage path.
Oh no. Oh my God.
And we hear your reaction, obviously a very natural reaction to the damage path here. And yeah, this is, you can tell, it just ripped right across Kellogg at this point.
That was a loud tornado too. That was a very, very loud tornado. I mean, I've seen lots and lots of tornadoes, but like I said, this one by far was without a doubt one of the loudest tornadoes I've ever heard. I mean, it was deafening. It had that jet engine sound to it, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It had that loud waterfall, that jet engine.
Well, a lot of people, say it's cliche, but it sounded like a freight train.
Yeah.
Okay, and so it had that sound to it.
Yeah.
All right, well, Eric, I can't thank you enough. And I know
Absolutely.
that, David, are we waiting for a news conference at midnight? Are we getting close with that? What do we need to do? Okay, so let's go back over to David Scott.
About to start, right? Yeah. Okay, so we'll be going to that in just a couple minutes. We do want to let you know, once again, a very important thing. The St. Vincent de Paul Church in Andover is opening its doors for anyone who has been impacted and doesn't have any place to stay tonight. A very nice move on their part, and we'll probably be hearing more about that kind of thing as we go into the weekend. Is the news conference beginning? We could talk some more about some other things that are going on. The governor has signed a state emergency disaster declaration that will enable state funding to be used for all the communities that have been impacted by this. Wichita is reaching out to its neighbors in Butler County to offer help as well. We're being told that all Wichita Police Command have been directed to help with emergency management, and the Sedgwick County Emergency Operations Center has been activated to help Andover as well. We have seen so much damage, so many people affected by this. The mayor says that, Mayor Whipple says that there have been up to 100 structures in the Butler County and Andover area that have been impacted.
Okay, starting for real now.
We are showing a live picture right now of where they are about to talk to the media about the latest information that they have. Let's listen in on what they're saying.
I'm the fire chief in Andover. We just wanted to give everyone an update about what we know so far. So we know that there was a direct tornado strike that started in Sedgwick County and traveled into Andover. We had many buildings in Andover take very tough damage. Total in the path, there were 966 buildings, we believe. We do not have a damage assessment on how many of those were damaged, but there were 966 in the path. This was, in some of our neighborhoods, damaged badly enough that the houses were completely blown down. Now the good news, so far we have no rescues outstanding. That means we know of no one waiting for us to do rescues. We did rescue quite a few people in the beginning. I'm sorry, I don't have the exact number. We'll try to get that for you. Right now, we are finished with our primary assessments. We're moving into secondary assessments, where the first assessment was really quick. We were checking quickly to make sure if we found anybody that was hurt badly, we could quickly grab them. Next, we're going to move into secondary assessments, and we're going to start checking more methodically. We plan to have all secondary assessments done by tomorrow morning, and tomorrow we're going to do a tertiary assessment in the daylight, and that will give us a really good idea of exactly the fact that we don't have any more people outstanding. We are handling calls. I'll let EMS talk about the calls we've handled so far, and the calls that we are still handling occasionally. But from a fire rescue perspective in Andover, we are done with our primary assessments, moving on to secondary assessments. I just want to reach out and say thank you to all of our neighbors. Every fire department from Butler County, Wichita, and Sedgwick County are here to help us. Cowley County came, Kansas Task Force 5 is here and will be working with us extensively. EMA agencies and Chief Buchanan, I'm sure, has a lot of law enforcement folks. This is neighbors helping neighbors, and our neighbors stepped up and helped us out greatly this evening. With that, I'll turn it over to Chief Buchanan from Andover Police Department.
Thank you for coming tonight. We're very fortunate, like Chief Russell said, we have a lot of different agencies that have come in and stepped to help, especially from a small city, small department. We're very blessed that we had Sedgwick County, Wichita, Butler County, Augusta, just so many agencies are willing to step up and help. It's a long area, wide range, so we are making sure that we want to make sure that lines that are down, that we're able to annotate those, to make sure that for some reason we want to keep people out of the area. So that's the most important message we want to send right now, is we want to keep people safe, and to keep people out of the area is going to help us. The community's been great, supportive, and people have stayed away for the most part, so we just ask you to please continue to stay out of the area while we assess to make sure so no one else can get hurt.
With that, we'll hold questions for now. With that, I want to let Butler County EMS step in and talk about the issues they've had.
My name is Scott Steuven, S-T-U-E-V-E-N. I'm the Deputy Chief of Butler County EMS. Currently, we've had 5 requests for EMS patients as far as the disaster went. We've 2 of which were firefighters that requested service. They are in good shape. One was transported to the local hospital, and as far as I know, is in good shape at this point. Most have just been minor cuts, scratches, and some fall victims. We have not received any critical patients from our area within Butler County. Currently, we are still receiving calls for service within the city of Andover, which we're responding to with our ambulances. We've been very fortunate to have Sedgwick County EMS assist us with their units, and very lucky to have them as our team of partners. So.
With that, let's hear from Sedgwick County EMS. This incident started in Sedgwick County.
Kevin Lanterman, Kevin Lanterman. I'm the interim director of Sedgwick County EMS. As they stated, this did start in Sedgwick County. From an EMS standpoint, we did have 3 injuries in Sedgwick County. One serious and 2 non-critical. We did deploy units into Butler County. They called and asked for our assistance, and we did send units and have units on standby here to assist, help them cover calls, because there's still other 911 calls coming in. So we're going to stand by and help any way we can.
Okay, and we also have Wichita PD here with us.
Danny's Captain of Wichita PD. We're here just assisting fire, EMS, Andover PD, whatever they need, whether it's assisting with calls, traffic control, also any searches that may be going on.
Let me check my notes, make sure I have everything covered. That's all we have. We would take questions. Go ahead.
How long is that order for residents who can't come back home? How long do you expect that to last?
So it's going to depend on how quick our assessment will be, especially our secondary assessment. Again, safety is the #1 concern for our community. So once we know that it is safe for them to go back to residence, we'll definitely let people go back. Right now, we have a location for them to go at St. Vincent de Paul. They're helping us with a staging area to be able to have people if they're displaced from their homes, so that we do have a location for them as well.
Chief, any indication of how much power is still out and how long that power will take to be restored?
I cannot answer that. I don't know. I know we have, we're working with KG&E and Evergy. They're out here working. They've been with us through most of this evening trying to help us and find these spots. One of those is, again, some lines down still. So when we can help them by identifying locations, that's our goal, to help them so they'll be able to work those as quick as possible.
You mentioned 966 structures. If you could give us an idea in Andover where you would say the hardest hit area was.
So I live just east of town. I made it into town on Harry Street, and the neighborhood at the northeast corner of Harry and Andover Road had significant damage. The southwest corner had significant damage as well. And then the neighborhood right behind me, the Reflection Lake neighborhood, we learned that through the damage assessment, they received very bad damage there as well. We also took damage at City Hall, which really hampered some of our efforts. We're very thankful Wichita Fire was willing to bring their command van over and help us keep going. So Central Park, east of Crescent Lakes, and the tornado continued all the way up to either 60th or 70th past the KTA.
Now, everyone has seen the videos and pictures of the damage to the YMCA and the aftermath of that. Talk about what that initial response was like, and just kind of getting to those people, making sure everyone was okay.
Interestingly, I'm not going to have a lot of information because we haven't had an opportunity to see the pictures and videos, but we did assign crews over there, and there were no victims found. We had no patients from the Y, and that's all I would be able to offer for that.
Talk about how, like, the warning people had, really important to just kind of help make sure that there are injuries or serious injuries.
Right. So the one thing I can tell you about the warning is, like I said, I live just east of town, and the sirens were sounding when the funnel cloud was still just dipping out of the cloud. I could hear them at my house. So I don't have the data, but I have the story standing in my backyard. I ended up with debris in my backyard. So it was sounding, the sirens were sounding immediately, and my phone went off 45 seconds before that. So it spun up really quickly. I was watching the weather very closely, and as soon as the warning could be sent, it was out there. We got it very quickly. Any other questions?
Is there any concern, if there's anyone that we haven't been able to find yet?
Very much. That's why all these trucks sitting here are not just parked. We're having a planning meeting right now, and we're getting assignments out so we can immediately get into those secondary assessments. We want to get those done before morning because in these incidents, we typically find folks that we did not find in those primary assessments.
You kind of mentioned like the next steps here. Just kind of reiterate what people who are watching these briefings and hearing from you all, what can they do to kind of help you guys out, make this process a little easier?
Well, I think I would echo Chief Buchanan. The first thing you can do is stay away right now. We have power lines down. If for no other reason for your safety, please stay away. Other than that, I think that I think that would be the primary thing for tonight. I will probably have a better idea of what folks can do to help in the morning, but for now, I think we just need folks to stay out of the area.
Now, any talks as far as debris cleanup goes, people being able to come back and collect some of their belongings? We've seen some people going through what's left of their homes tonight. Any indication of when they'll be able to just come back and solidly sit through everything?
We don't know. We still have those power lines down, so we're just going to have to keep everybody out that's not in for tonight. So we'll probably have a better idea of that in the morning.
For you all, obviously the workload extends. How are you guys keeping each other fresh, kind of getting new bodies to kind of tackle this? What's kind of the process?
Well, all the firefighters that are here started work yesterday morning at 7 a.m. So we're working in the command post right now about plans of what we're going to do tomorrow. So we've reached out to the state for help and for our neighbors for help. And that is going to be one of our primary objectives in the command post now that we have the ops folks working on those secondary assessments, figuring out where do we go from here. And it's not just tomorrow. The Public Works Director and I were talking very briefly. Unfortunately, we've been through this before, and it'll be years that we'll be recovering from this. But we're focused on tonight. So we'll focus on tonight, plan for tomorrow, and we'll get through this.
I guess you have a schedule yet on other additional briefings?
Yeah, we'd like to meet here again at 8:15 in the morning. And so we'll hopefully be moved over to the next management team from then, and we'll have some better information, I hope. Okay, thank you very much.
All right. The police chief and fire chief of Andover and the EMS director of Sedgwick County and Butler County giving an update tonight on just what they know about what was left behind from this incredibly powerful tornado today. The amazing thing really continues to be the few injuries that have been reported. The Butler County folks are saying that 5 EMS calls, and 2 of those were firefighters, and none of them were serious injuries, so that is very fortunate. They say 966 buildings were in the path of this twister. They don't know how many were actually damaged. We do know, we've shown you so many times, the incredible damage to the YMCA there. We also just learned that City Hall was damaged. We showed you earlier that Prairie Creek Elementary School suffered a lot of damage, but we'll be finding out a lot more about that as we go into the day tomorrow. We will send it back to Jay. Jay?
All right, we still have one county in Kake Land still under severe thunderstorm warning. Basically, it's Chautauqua County. The storm is out of Elk. I know it kind of clips Longdon here, but once this storm leaves Kake Land, we're done with the severe weather threat for the rest of the night. So still basically from Sedan over to Elk City, in addition to heavy rain, we might have an occasional gust up to about 60 miles per hour. And then once this clears, it's going to be breezy out of the northwest as temperatures cool down overnight tonight. So one county to go, and then the severe weather threat is over for Kake Land. David?
All right, thanks, Jay. And the big cleanup job will begin for the Andover area. Lots of help on the way. The state is offering its help. Sedgwick County and Wichita are offering its help as well. And that will all begin tomorrow. And we will begin our coverage after the sun comes up, showing you what exactly has happened in Andover. Have a much better idea when there is light on this. And we'll be coming to you again at 6 a.m. Annette Lawless will join you for Good Morning Kansas at 6 and 8 tomorrow. And we'll see you then. Have a good night. Be good. Be safe.
Of the marriage between Johnny Depp and his ex-wife Amber Heard exposed in a defamation lawsuit that he brought against her.
One day you're Cinderella, so to speak, and then in 0.6 seconds you're Quasimodo.
In 2019, Depp sued Heard for $50 million after she published an op-ed in the Washington Post saying she was a public figure representing domestic abuse. Although she never mentions Depp by name in the piece, Depp says he suffered significant damage to his career as a result.
What have you lost as a result of Miss Heard making these allegations against you?
Nothing less than everything.
After the allegations surfaced, a new Pirates of the Caribbean movie owned by Disney, the parent company of ABC News, where Depp plays arguably his most famous role as Captain Jack Sparrow, was put on hold.
I'm Captain Jack Sparrow. I may have deserved it.
Depp was also dropped from the Harry Potter Fantastic Beasts film franchise.
I will live with that for the rest of my life because of the allegations. And because it was such a high-profile case. So I lost then, no matter the outcome of this trial.
Heard, who plays Mira in Aquaman and the Justice League franchise, is now countersuing Depp for $100 million, claiming he's defaming her by calling her a liar.
This was an absolute toxic relationship for Amber Heard and Johnny Depp. And what we're seeing as the testimony plays out is that they both harmed each other, but the question is, what